Hello. Here I am.
Hello.
Sorry I was late.
That's right.
I have lapsed. I've become the late one.
No worries.
Had some nice food.
What did you have?
Claudia breads these pieces of chicken and makes chicken strip thingies.
No,
And then I had that with
chicken strippers.
Noodles and bean sprouts, bit of barbecue sauce on the side, but they're super breaded. So good. Her talents astound me.
My dad made Mexican chili.
Yeah?
And he made I'm not sure why it doesn't really go, but he made a naan bread. And it was really good.
Oh yeah, banana bread's good. Miyako, my mum make it sometimes.
No, naan bread.
Oh, I thought you said banana bread. I was like, banana bread and Mexican. Yeah, it doesn't go. Naan bread and Mexican. Yeah, I mean, I guess they do have breaded things.
It's like a flatbread, basically.
A tortilla. You had a
No.
spiced tortilla that was fluffy.
It wasn't spicy, it was just plain.
Always comes up with the goods, your dad.
Yeah, it was really good. He made it was so good that I think he's cooking another one. Just a naan bread just to eat. On its
good.
own. Yeah.
Is it me?
15, yeah.
15. Wow. I love it when it's me. Cue the music. You got to do it.
I'm doing it in my head.
Oh, God. Welcome to episode 15 of the Just Swim cast, the podcast entirely devoted to the furthering of our species through talk and discussion. My name's Tim.
My name's Woody.
And here we are.
That was really good. You managed to not falter on that one.
Oh, I was even as I was about to go. No, even as I was about to go into it, I was like, "What? What is it?" And then it just came out. Somewhere in my soul, I've embedded that lyric, which is good.
Yeah.
I am delighted to announce that we will be reverting to the longer format of the Just Swim cast, releasing longer episodes once a week on a Friday. We did have a small chunk of time where we were doing 2-part episodes, which was essentially one episode split up into two, recorded on one night. But yeah, I always felt like the longer cast was where it was at.
I definitely think it is where it's at. I think
you just have to believe that someone wants to listen to you for that long, and I believe.
So it's that, but it's also now we won't. Well, don't want to say anything, but the good thing about the 2 parts is you've just got a bit more content to push out. I know that sounds bad, but it's not just, it's like 2 a week rather than 1 a week. But that's not to say that more content isn't on the way.
That's not to say that it's not in the pipeline. It's not to say that it's not chewing its way down the pipe, almost ready to be unleashed upon our Just Swimian audience, the Just Swim army. Thank you for joining us today. We have some incredible topics lined up. First of which is to discuss the fact that we are slowly coming out of lockdown. We've done lockdown updates from time to time. But now pubs are opening, other things are opening, gyms for people who gym, not us, but there are some people out there who choose to do that. And yeah, slowly life is coming back to the norm, which always feels a bit premature when things go back to normal.
What do you mean what do you mean?
Well,
what do you mean it always feels?
Well, there's been a few times.
the only time this has happened in our life.
No, there was You don't remember the first lockdown. So, the first lockdown, everyone was like, oh, hunker up, hunker up. And then a few days later, we were all like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
And they did that special thing where you could go out and get meals on a cheap price. And
Right.
they were like, let's make the economy recover from this 6-week hiatus, not realizing that they'd actually have to make the economy recover for what has it been, like a year and a half?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm waiting for the vouchers. There must be some great stuff in the post. Must be like, go to Sainsbury's and buy what you want for a week. I haven't heard anything on it yet, but there's some discounts on the horizon, chaps. Look out.
Well, what makes you say that? Why do you think there'll be discounts?
What, if they can do Help to Buy for 6 weeks after a year and a half, you must be getting bicycles for free. Free cars. Golden bars just mailed to you in the post.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. And my post box is open. If anyone wants to send me a golden bar, I'll pay for the postage. But yeah, I have noticed that standards are slipping. And by that, I mean masks are below the chin or non-existent. Claudia said she went to the old Sainsbury's, the shopping place where we get our groceries. And yeah, she called out the girls who like to walk around with their faces out, and it's because they're all dressed up nicely with their fake boobs jiggling around, and they've got to have their face out so that they can so that you can tie those fake boobs to a face, and it's obviously more important to them than protecting one another from COVID. I do always wonder what a mask really does in the grand scheme of things.
I don't think it does anything.
Yeah, but it does feel nice to mask up. I've been enjoying masks just for the sake of
anonymity.
Exactly, and I'm so glad you said that word because I don't even want to try it.
Yeah.
Anonymity.
That's it.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Yeah, I said it wrong twice. Got it on the last one. Yeah. But wow, things are slipping.
So talking of anonymity,
segue.
We there was a bit of a like press release or whatever done by Mr. Sunak, the Chancellor of the Exchequer.
Rishi.
Yeah. And I think there maybe, from what I understood, there's talks that they want to create a digital currency.
Yeah,
for
I linked
the
to you
United
about
Kingdom.
the Royal Bank. Is it no? It's Royal Bank of
it's
Scotland.
funny. It's fun.
What was it even called? Royal
Bank of England.
Bank of England. Yeah. I almost
It's
said
funny
Scotland
when
Yard.
you when you send me articles to things, because I've already seen all of them. And it's just funny when you send them to me. That's why I don't often reply to what you send me. And
No. I just send it on the off chance that it will stimulate something that might be useful for a podcast.
Yeah, and so and one of the well, here's the thing in the press release, they said it was something on the lines of this would be something that would work alongside cash and card transactions, but it wouldn't replace it.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
Yeah, and they were also in discussion about how best to tackle the privacy issue. And, and I thought, but it got me thinking, right? It got me thinking about how we purchase things today, in the UK at least. It's all on card. Like, our banks basically know what we've purchased and who's purchased what.
They know more than you do.
They know more than I do.
You can't even remember what you've purchased, but they do.
Now,
I think they can sell that as well.
The best medium for privacy, the best medium of currency for, value for anonymity and privacy is just cash.
I sent you a picture, didn't I, of me holding a substantial amount of cash this week.
Yeah.
So I've somehow come into some cash, which has been useful for some purposes or other. It's not with me now, it's with the bank, but I did feel fantastic walking in with, I had it in my pocket and I was like,
Bosh.
don't get mugged. Yeah. And then walked up to the. It's just like, oh, before you get up to the cashier, there's another lady who's like, oh, what is it you're looking to do today? I was like, well, fucking go and see the lady behind the till, not you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, just make a deposit. She was like, oh, to your account, and I was like, yes, to my account. Oh, just go up to the lady there. I was like, yeah,
I know.
That's where I was fucking going, mate.
Yeah.
I wasn't just coming into the bank to read a newspaper. So yeah, I walked up to the till and she was like, oh, would you like to come forward? And I was like, yes, I would. How can I help today? Oh, I'd like to just see this little envelope. Oh, and I was like rubbing my thumb through all the notes. They were 50s as well. I don't think I've ever owned a £50 note in my life. And I was wondering how I could explain having this amount of money. And I was thinking, well, what I could say is that every time I've been given a £50 note since I was born, I've collected it. But the fact is I would have had fuck all. But yeah, I was quite interested as well.
How did you even come across £50 notes?
Because the entity through which this cash was provided or arrived in my possession would have taken it from a bank, I would assume. So they would have been given £50 notes because a bank, to a bank, a £50 note is just like the same as a paperclip to a stationery company. They've got loads of them.
Right. No, but I think if you withdraw money from a bank, they ask you what notes you want. And what split of notes you want.
Maybe that person was a straight up baller.
Just went, I just want all 50s, please.
50. It was still WOD though. I was like, oh, this is good.
Nice.
So yeah, gave it over, and I was just thinking to myself, yeah, just there you go.
Now
but I did also think that the person on the other side of that till, she was like, oh, what's the account number? Oh, I was like, ding, 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 ding. And I bet, just like my online banking, it pops up, and they're like, oh, this person's got this much. Oh.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? They can just
It'd be quite a good way to seek out a partner if you were behind a till. Like, suddenly someone pops up, ding, 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 ding. Oh, you, sir, I'm free at 7 o'clock tonight. Would you like to go for a drink? But yeah, I do think cash is an interesting thing. It doesn't really make sense how it works. There's supposed to be a limited amount of cash that you can keep.
What do you mean?
Well, you can't be it's money laundering to have X amount of cash.
No, it's not money. It's not money laundering to hold cash. It's what you do with it's considered
I think
spurious, or it's considered suspect if you have a lot of cash.
I own in hand, UK. How much cash are you legally allowed to carry on your person? Oh, there's no limit. In theory, you could walk around with £1 million, but you'd be stupid to do so. However, if the police saw you carrying a large amount of cash, then they would be able to ask you where you got it from. What's a large amount of cash? Like, maybe a policeman might be like, oh, £100. Where'd you get that? What are you doing with that £100 note, sir? Well, there's no such thing as a £100 note.
I know that it's considered these days in terms of transactions, like so you're buying a house, there are caps on how much physical cash you're able to deliver for a deposit, for example. And there are limits on how much you can spend on real estate transactions in cash. Where what people try and do is they want to mitigate the risk of you laundering money through cash.
The thing about cash is that you get the anonymity, but you have a price to pay for that, which is the risk of having cash. Just fucking blow away in the wind, that stuff.
What's the difference between a card and a card?
Well, there's a gateway, isn't there? There's a 4-digit PIN.
Not all the time.
Well, even contactless, like how much could you tap in a day before Actually, I think there's I think it's 45 quid, but I reckon if you started to mount up to £1,000 in a day, your card would probably get popped off. Or maybe it wouldn't. Maybe they love that stuff. Maybe they just leave it open.
I think they just leave it open. Yeah. I think you can put, on most modern banks that have managed to catch up with the times, you can put daily limits, daily total amounts on transactions. for different types of transactions as well. So you can say like, don't allow my card to spend more than £500 on online shopping every day, or whatever. I know my bank allows me to do that. Actually, all of my limits are the smallest that it would let me put them. So that if I do lose my card, because like there isn't really much, especially cash withdrawals, I like to put that on minimum because I never withdraw cash. And like if I want a load of cash, I just bump it up when I'm at the, like, you know, get to the ATM. There's usually someone else using it when I get there, always the case. Open up my phone, change me withdrawal limit, get the cash that I need, change the withdrawal limit back to 0.
See, I don't even think through Santander I can change. Like, Santander app is so wanky woo-woos.
Is it?
It is like...
Barclays is really good.
Might as well be a balance. That's it. I hate that fucking thing. And then also, if you enter your PIN wrong, it's a 5-digit PIN to get into it.
Yeah.
And if you enter that wrong more than 3 times...
Doesn't have... Oh.
Then it takes like 2 weeks to get access to your banking again.
It doesn't have like finger... Oh, you don't have an Android, do you? You have Face ID?
No. None of that stuff.
I'm sure if you had a phone that was capable of like fingerprint...
I have a phone that does fingerprint and Face ID. I pay with Apple Pay with that shit.
Oh, right.
It's just fucking Santander. It's plugged into a device and it doesn't utilise the device.
Maybe you just haven't turned on...
Maybe Santander is shit.
No.
That's what. They're shit.
I just don't think you've turned it on.
Right, well, that'll be another piece of content. I can show you how shit the app is. It's not a good one.
Okay.
Did you have any other points on cash and anonymity? Because I did kind of just segue into my cash stories.
No, I think that was mainly it. I think I'm just questioning this whole Britcoin concept. And,
Britcoin. Well, what they did in China is they released a digital currency, but they made it like a lottery. So it was dispersed into the population through people buying tickets almost to win some.
Interesting.
So all of a sudden, people would just become like millionaires.
Government scale airdrops.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big thing in society. It's always been a lot of carnivals are about that. Even the idea of gladiator, like the slave rising to the top. Think about X Factor. It's exactly the same thing, really.
I suppose so.
I always find it hard to not, like, even the other day I watched there was an American Idol interview that I watched where I don't watch the American ones very often, but when I'm YouTube scrolling in bed I just get given shit. So this guy walks in, limited amount of teeth, like really Texas yokel accent. Oh yeah, Texas yokel. Can't do the accent at all, but that's what it sounds like. And he apparently wants to sing. Great, I wouldn't have guessed it. And it's just all so scripted, and there were 3 judges sitting behind the thing, and one of them was Katy Perry. I didn't know the other 2, and he was like a bin man or something. Yeah, so he stands on the end of the truck, and one of the judges said, "Oh, come up here, show us your hands," and he's like, "Look at that, working man's hands." And, and they were like looking at his hands like in amazement at his calluses on his hands, and I was like, this is just fucking degrading.
Yeah.
Like, look at this man's hands like he's a zoo creature. And then he starts singing and they're like, no, wait, you need to go, have you done this before? And he's like, no, I just sing on the back of the truck. And they're like, all right, let's have you warmed up? He's like, no, I'm not on the back of a truck. It's like, right, okay. So they sent him out to go and like warm up and everything. And then he comes back in and starts singing. And then they're all like, oh, you are an incredible person. You're through to the final round. We love you. Let's all have a hug. I was just like, fuck off.
So is he a good singer?
He's all right. He wasn't like he's not gonna win the thing. He hasn't got enough teeth to win it, I'll say it. He doesn't. He doesn't. There's no way they're going to let someone win who doesn't have a full set of teeth. And you know it. They'll be sitting there in the back room. They'll be like, right, okay, so he's a good singer. But we can't really... Can we do posters with we could get him not to smile. No, you need him smiling for the pictures. Can we fill in those teeth? No, because then there'll be a whole sort of PR thing about us filling in his teeth, After Effects and stuff like that. We can't do that. So we're just going to have to choose. Has the other one got teeth? Yeah, he's got teeth. All right, okay, we'll go with him.
Yeah. It's
the
good
sad
TV,
reality
though.
of it. Is it?
Apparently.
I don't think it is.
Well,
And that's what I question it.
Made you talk about it.
Well, yeah, no, but where is the level to which people like?
There is none.
There isn't, is there? There's no level. Because if it was on TV, I'd turn it off straight away. It was just because it was on YouTube.
Right.
And even then, I was only watching for the sake of, this is fucking awful. Not for the sake of, oh, wow.
I'm sure a lot of
this
people...
truck singer's been given a chance.
No, I'm sure a lot of people, I think that's what makes it the good TV. I think that's they know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they know that but that's what
I reckon. No, so for a few years when it first starts, they're like, oh, we can play soft music and find the one who's got a troubled story. And then after a while, they're like, hang on a minute, are we doing this too often? And then they're like, oh, actually, no, that's what people want. They hate it, but they want it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we want.
They've got the formula.
Yeah. Deary me.
It's a sad formula, but it works. Gets them money.
So I've got a rabbit hole to go down, which is I've been thinking a lot about, I guess overall you could call it spirituality, but in specific, the link between the head, the mind, the soul, and the body. Mm. And one thing that I can't wrap my head around is that I can't see my insides, but they're there. And I feel like I'm just like this solid shell, like I'm made of Play-Doh. The outside is the same as the inside, and I drink something and I just wee it out, and that's just this magical thing. They're not even linked. I just drink stuff and I wee, and they're completely not linked. Same with all the other stuff that goes on. And I guess, like, I mean, you have bones. Like, yeah, I've got bones, I've got muscles. Everything else is just an unknown, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, it's just, it's not there, is it? Like, it's all going on. There's so much complexity going on. And another thing that I wanted to sort of think about is, like, the sewers under the ground and electricity pylons. Like, I know it's there, but it's not really there.
No, it is there. I don't know what you mean. No,
it is there, but what I mean is, like, you don't have an association with these things. So your body is like the main, like, for example, people who smoke, right?
Right.
Like, your body is like the main thing in your life, like the insides and everything like that. It's like the most important thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe the brain is more important, but everything else as well below that is very important to everything that you do. Like going to work today, can't do that without the heart. Going to work today, can't do that without taking a poo first. All these things, yeah? But you never really just, like, I don't know. Does that not make sense at all? There's someone out there in the audience who gets what I'm saying.
I don't.
Like when you sit on a chair, like your body is moving and like your organs are like probably not changing position much, but doing things, and like it's just weird. It's just weird that you don't have more of a relationship with your insides.
The inner workings.
It's so easy to think of, like, my hands. I see them all the time, but I don't see my nose very often at all.
I do. If I cross my eyes, I can...
How about this, right? When cavemen were around, before they had mirrors, they wouldn't know what they looked like unless they looked in a pond and saw their reflection.
Right.
So they wouldn't have an association with their face as themselves. There you go. I've done it. I've made a comparison. Okay. And we can't see inside of ourselves.
So we don't have an association.
So it's all just rainbows and fairy dust going on in there.
Right. Yeah.
And I can't see the sewers. So great. They're probably log flumes. My shit's just flying along them. Pops out into a river.
And off it goes.
And off it swims into the ocean. It's just the little things in life you don't think about. I've just been trying to think about them a bit more this week.
So, I mean, there are people in the world that do know the inner workings of all these things. It's
And
just
they
that
tap
you
into
don't.
it. Yeah, but so they tap into it a bit more and they understand that. So, like, I have a wellness session at work, which is this meeting that I go to because the HR lady, like, she has struggled to push through into our group of developers because they're just like, don't want to fucking do any of that stuff. But she wants to do something for the team, yeah? So she arranges these wellness sessions where
Right.
we go on a Zoom call and there's a woman who's like, so today we're just going to be rolling our shoulders, and relax.
Jesus.
And sometimes I've just literally put the laptop on and just walked off because you don't have your camera on or anything like that. And then at the end, I pop my microphone. I'm like, oh, yeah, brilliant. Brilliant. Sometimes I've got Miyako to do it with me, and that's been good fun. But this week,
Why don't you have your cameras on?
Oh, because
I
that's
never
weird. We
understood.
used to for the first few sessions, and we're all sat there like rolling our shoulders, looking at each other like, "Oh, that's how you roll yours. This is how I roll my shoulders." Like, and then you got like massage your neck and everything. It's just like, nah, fuck that. So we have our cameras on for the first bit. We say hello and have a chat, and she's like, "And if anyone wants to turn their cameras off." And everyone's just fucking waiting for that. It's like, boom!
Boom,
As
everyone's
soon as it
off.
happens, blackout. Everyone's like, right, here we go.
Time to do fuck all for a bit.
But this week she really shocked me because she said one thing, okay, at the start of the call. She was like, and just remember to relax your jaw. Just let your jaw drop. And I did it and I was astounded. I was like, wow, my jaw cannot be clenched. So it made a real breakthrough. But I hadn't really thought about that. But I bet she's probably like, every day, she's like, whoa, my jaw's a bit tight. Must massage these urusa muscles. Like, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a connection you can have. And the reason I wanted to bring up the bodily connection is I also feel like spirituality is like, we talk about a lot of topics that are, you know, how we don't like the closed-mindedness of life and how the walls are closing in and all these different things, and how we might like to peel back our inner eye by doing hallucinogenics and all these things, yeah.
Right.
But we never really try to, I don't know if you've tried meditating or anything like that.
No, I haven't.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I
Like maybe
understand
a
that.
lot of the things that we're talking about are
Can
actually,
be found in other ways.
yeah, they're staring us in the face, but we don't open our minds to them.
A lack
we
of
open
belief.
we open our minds to all the problems, but when there are actually people, you know, saying solutions, like there's those.
Well-
what about those people in Asia that sit in the mountains and just meditate for 12 hours a day? What about them? Are they not? They must have found something. They wouldn't fucking keep doing it. Right, or maybe they keep searching for it and they're like, nah, on the 100th one, you get there.
Yeah. You could always get the wellness coach to come on the podcast and we can have a little 2-hour session of rolling our necks and making all sorts of noises.
I don't know, mate. It's difficult stuff, honestly. I'm clock watching towards the end. Like, I like it, but there's only so much. Like, one thing that used to happen at my recruitment company I worked at was you'd have only 15 minutes, but you'd go into this chair. And it's like almost like a bicycle exercise machine. You'd sit on it, and she'd just massage you for 15 minutes.
Oh, that's
and
nice.
yeah. Well, it was nice, but it was 15 minutes. So like, you'd get in there, she'd be like, "Oh, hi, yeah. Just relax," and you're like, "Yeah, I'm fucking like, stop talking, mate. I've only got 15 minutes."
Yeah.
And she'd get going, and then like you'd be just ready to just fucking drift away.
Yeah.
And she's like,
That's it, time's up."
Actually, back to work, get over it. And you'd be sat there like, oh, fuck, like walking down the stairs. And everyone would look at you when you came back in and they're like, look up at you, like, feeling better? And I was like, yeah. Well, I'm on the edge, mate. I'm about to step into the fucking cave of happiness and now I'm seeing your face again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know, wellness, bodily enlightenment. Maybe we should try meditating for a week and report back. If there are any just swimmians out there who have any relaxative methods or spiritual methods they'd like us to try, Give us a comment. We won't do it unless you give us a comment. Right? We do a lot of things for a comment these days.
Yeah.
We do some filthy things for a comment. So if you've got something you want to say or you want us to do, now's your chance.
And on that note, we do have a Discord channel, server.
Do we?
Yeah, we do.
I'm not even a fucking part of it.
Yeah, you are. You made
Am
it.
I? Did I?
Yeah, you made it.
All right. Can you chuck an invite to my
I'm
thing?
not going to chuck an invite. I'll just send you a message.
Is it on my Grizz one?
Oh, it could. Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm not seeing it. I'm stuck in my work Discord too much these days. Sorry, I've interrupted our important announcement.
There you go. I'll send you an invite. There's a Discord server. The link to the invite is on YouTube in the About section of Woody and Tim channel. You could probably find us better through searching Just Swim podcasts and going on our channel.
Yeah, this is going to be huge. We have had requests for contact information as well.
Yeah, we have. I also added a business email.
The business email, yeah, for
all the requests that we don't get.
Everything that wants to come our way for how we can monetize and be rich.
Here's something that I wanted to talk about, actually, talking of this sort of stuff. So I started my job on Monday.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to ask. I mean, I have asked, but I forgot to ask on the podcast.
There's a particular thing I want to talk about. It's really good, really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great.
Great company.
Honeymoon phase. 3 months he'll be saying, fuck my life.
Nah, I don't think so. I don't know.
That is every company, come on. Maybe that's just my approach to work. I, like for the first 3 months when I start a job, if you meet me, I'm like, oh wow, you'll never guess what I'm doing. It's the best thing ever. And then 3 months later, you'll be able to talk to me about real things again. But yeah, sorry, continue with your job story.
I had to provide a introduction to myself that goes on the global channel. Gets posted on the we use like Slack, which is essentially like Discord or Teams. It doesn't really matter what we use, but anyway, there's a global channel that everybody's a part of, and when new hires get added, you write a little intro about yourself, and yeah, I managed to squeeze in a little plug for the podcast.
Oh, what a mistake.
Well,
oh, he's not in the honeymoon phase. It's brilliant. Yeah, I've had a few people ask me why I've got a mic set up like I'm in a podcast, and I'm like, oh, just the way I like it. Yeah, no, that's cool though.
So
Find some like-minded civilians.
Yes, maybe the next one might get or the previous one might get a few jumps in views. I hope no one listens to it, really.
Do you have the bio to hand by any chance? Because I love these things.
Do I have the what?
The bio, like the pitch. This is Woody. This is what I do. I like to ride horses on the weekend and dress up in flowery dresses. What did you say?
Yeah, let me load my work laptop up.
Oh, the work laptop as well.
Oh yeah, work laptop as well.
There you go. Fresh device, no dust on that keyboard.
I've already been jamming my fingers all over the screen when I open it, so it's like it's already a bit dirty.
Deary me. Yeah, mine needs to go back to the Apple store. It's been about a month
Here
now.
it is. Hey all, Woody here. I'll begin by clearing up any confusion about my name, as it will definitely... Have I spelled definitely right there? I said defiantly.
Don't know about definitely. Oh, you said defiantly. Oh dear. Straight away everyone's like,
no, it hasn't been posted yet,
channel.
so I've got time to...
Yeah, it's a bit oppressive, definitely, as well. Maybe I just thought your name was Woody. Is Woody such a special name you need to claim it out? I'm going to make you second guess every part of this.
I really hope that she hasn't copied and pasted that yet. Anyway,
I just noticed that I can't spell.
As it will definitely confuse most, if not all of you. My real name is Edward, but I've been known as Woody my whole life. I'll be joining as an associate PM working alongside Austin. I've always been on the technical side of life and tinker around with some programming in my spare time. Also host a very small podcast, Just Swim Podcast, available on all platforms, including Spotify.
Brilliant.
Super excited to join Fabric. Can't wait to get my hands dirty on the products. The welcoming I've had so far has been amazing. Thank you.
Oh, it's like they're giving you 100 characters and at least 40 of them. That's great. You should have just taken up with a link on the rest of it.
Yeah, I should have done.
Brilliant. Yeah, listen at your own caution, chaps.
Yeah,
because we speak in a free environment here, free from oppression, judgmentality. But for, of course, welcome aboard. Lovely to have you. I should probably share it with my work people. I've had a few moments like that, like with the music. I remember the marketing chaps. They found my YouTube from when I was like in school, and I used to sing do little covers of things and write my own music and stuff. And it was little Tim on a guitar singing his heart out. They're actually quite cool, the songs, but I always have this sort of shame of them. Like, oh, that's a bit embarrassing, really. And it's quite interesting if you Google me, because I've Googled myself from time to time. Oh, there's so much wank that comes up. It's like, I hope no one ever does that in an employer interview, because I think a lot of people are good at keeping that stuff good. But I've tried so many random things over the years. Like, I've been a fish tanker, I've been a musician, I've done it all on YouTube. You can find anything.
Yeah.
So they found that stuff, and they were like doing my little love songs and everything like that. And I was like, oh, well, if you want to actually listen to like my music instead of rinsing me, like, why don't you listen to this one? So I sent him the new music, and then like every so often I'd just be sat in the office working, and we used to have music on the whole time, and I'd just be like singing one of our songs, the newer songs like Motions or something like that, to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I singing? Oh no, it's playing. Oh, great, yeah, okay. And he'd be like looking at me out the corner of his eye, like, yeah, is he going to notice yet? Is he going to notice yet? And then the other, all the rest of the marketing team's like, is he going to notice yet? And then like heads harder behind the monitors. And then, right, oh yeah, you're doing it again. Oh yes, it's my music. Yeah, all right. Thanks, guys. Yeah, keep your Googling clean, chaps. Keep it clean.
Yeah.
Not your Googling. Do what you want with your Googling. Your history of yourself. But I guess it's good to be ambitious. It's good to try a few things.
Yeah, I don't...
I've dabbled.
Exactly.
Can't get anywhere without dabbling.
Be interesting to know that if we sort of fast forward 20 years and we look back at this podcast, I wonder if we think, what are these fucking idiots talking about?
So there's a lot of things like that. And I think a lot of the time, perhaps even with the music, a reason why we haven't pushed it, like I was thinking earlier, yeah, we have friends in our circle like Toddy and J-Ray and stuff like that who do music. They consider themselves like, we are musicians. Yeah, that's what they want to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know they do other things, but like that's a really big passion of theirs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they've written an album. Yeah. We've written a 12-song album, and I don't think they've even listened to it, because we've never ever done anything with it. Because we've always had that like fear of doing stuff with it.
What do you want to do? Do you want to like make some CD? I'll fucking burn some CDs and send them around the house if you want. Here you go, have a listen to that.
That's what they do. They'd have stickers on every lamppost. New fucking song, guys. Come and check it out.
It's just
you know what I mean?
It's just futile, though.
Oh yeah, but you can't.
No,
maybe we should do a song. Maybe that'd be a good song. Like the first step's the hardest. That's like the first cut. The first step is the hardest. That'd be it.
There you go.
But once you take one, you just keep plodding along nicely. And we are going to unleash the music on the world again soon.
Yep.
Going to get some views on that, so that'll be good.
Yep.
Coming soon, just Swimians. But yeah, it is with the podcast. I've always felt like the best thing about that is that I don't have that reservation. I feel like I've enjoyed the fact that I know the first few episodes got like 100 plus views. So tell your friends, guys, 100 plus views, quite a big deal. And the rest of them are sort of teetered off to the natural audience, which is teetering between like 10 if it's a good if it's a bad title, and 25 if it's a good title. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've kind of enjoyed knowing that we're starting with the people who really actually want to be here. And obviously that funnel will only get wider because it's great content. So how could it not?
Tell your friends.
Yeah, leave a comment, subscribe. I think we need to do something at 20 subscribers, man, because we're at 19. Been there for a while. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a savage one. Like, if you're listening and you haven't subscribed, or maybe you don't have a YouTube account, like,
Just make one and subscribe.
Just dedicate like 2 minutes to it. What does it take?
It'll make us really happy.
Yeah.
And we'll definitely shout you out for the 20th sub. We'll shout all of you out, every single one of you. We'll go through the list.
It's actually really hard to figure out who your subscribers are.
Well,
I still don't know a way to actually see who is subscribed. I get notifications when you do subscribe. So when I do, I'll get an email and I'll be like, oh, shit. Our latest subscriber, Tom Fitch, thanks for joining.
You can see if, you can, I don't know, there's like some privacy setting within YouTube that allows that you can turn on and off. And if it's on, it means that people, when you subscribe, people can see that you, like your channel or like your account has subscribed to them. So there's a few, I think maybe 5% of the people that have subscribed to us have like enabled that feature. Yeah. I think it might be off by default.
But I think, as I was saying, it's always been a kind of liberating feeling in the sense that it is very much what it says on the tin, and I don't really need to worry about it too much. I did worry last time when we had a lot of alcohol. I did listen back to that one and think, is there anything here that is going to be potentially liable for myself? But more often than not, it's just like, yeah, doing a podcast, having some fun. And if you want to listen, then you listen. Yeah. So, and I think I always thought that maybe you had a reservation about it, but I can tell by the fact that you've shielded it to your new work colleagues that you don't give a fuck. So,
no, I don't care.
Yeah, but I think we'll always look back on it. I do still think we need to do more. Like, there's definitely a way to find like. If we can find like 10 new viewers through a marketing strategy of our own and pick up 1 or 2 of them for the long run, then we'd have done something. Because we are very much producing this podcast for our friendship groups and anyone else on the web who is lucky enough to search a term that is in the tags. And that is like minimal effort.
That's right.
I see podcasts, yeah. There was one podcast that liked one of our photos when we first changed my Instagram to a podcast Instagram.
Yeah.
And I looked at theirs and they had like 3,000 followers on Instagram, and I listened to it. It was brilliant.
Well,
it really wasn't brilliant.
Just go online and go on a website, type in Google, buy Instagram followers.
No, but I don't want to buy Instagram followers.
Why not?
Because that's not what you want. You don't want to buy an audience. I just want to I want to find a forum that's like, oh guys, I've run out of Joe Rogan podcast to listen to. What can I listen to? Oh guys, I'm wondering if LSD's a cool thing. Maybe I could listen to a podcast to find out more about it. And then they could come here and we could say, we haven't tried it, but they could still come here and talk to us about it. You know what I mean? There must be some avenues out there in the world.
Oh, I'll start looking. I'm doing all the technical shit.
Yeah, well, I'm playing City Skylines.
Yeah, well, that's not my problem.
Yeah, all right. I'll do some guerrilla marketing tactics. We'll see the numbers fly over the next few weeks. Don't worry, chaps. Because I know it must be a lonely space. Like Sai Tran, our top commenter.
What you need to do is make a little subreddit.
Little subreddit, you say?
Just Swim subreddit.
Oh, and then there'd be questions and things. That would be nice.
Exactly.
So it'd be nice to have the Discord for just general communication, just for make a group of like-minded people to share ideas. That'd be nice.
The way I see
and then alongside that, the Reddit could be a place for more sort of in and outflow of this sort of ideas that's coming. Okay.
Exactly.
Reddit's always been such a hard thing though, because I feel like Reddit, you have to they do some weird algorithm where you have to have Rice Krispies for the morning, a banana for breakfast, and then mushrooms for dinner, and then like a few photos. And then all of a sudden you're allowed to do a post. But if you haven't done those things, you're not allowed to do a post.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird, yeah.
But there's no reason why I couldn't just find out more about that, and you're right.
Yeah.
I'm blocking us, I'm sorry. I'll do more on the marketing front. I'll do it.
Cool.
I'll wear a T-shirt.
Get some T-shirts printed, maybe.
Oh, that'd be it. Merchandise.
Yeah, get the merch on the go.
NFTs.
Yeah, you could buy an NFT of a T-shirt with our logo on it.
Yeah. Or you could buy
can't wear it.
could buy a T-shirt with a tag on it that has an NFT that lets you buy another T-shirt with a tag on it that has an NFT on it.
There you go.
And so the cycle goes on. I'm pretty sure I could make T-shirts.
What, from scratch, or just printing a T-shirt on, like printing a logo on it?
Did you do textiles at school?
I did. I loved it.
Fuck, I cannot make a T-shirt. I just remember handing in like scraps of material that were like strung together, not stitched together, like just like
you didn't use the
I'd just
overlocker.
put the needle through one bit and then get the string and then go to the next bit.
Nah, you didn't use the overlocker, mate. You got to use the overlocker.
The best bit about it was just making patterns when you like, you know, on the what is it, the sewing machine thing, just like zigzagging around, just looking at the patterns. Like, yeah, if I pull the material faster, the stitches get further away. If I do it like, then they get closer. That's so cool.
Yeah.
But never giving a fuck. There were loads of things like that.
I enjoyed textiles. I did graphics. I wish I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know why you did graphics.
I
I'm
think
so
that's-
surprised you didn't do systems and control, which doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I know. I think it's because my brother took it. My brother took graphics. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah, that looks cool.
The graphics skill. When I was in systems and control, I used to walk up the hall and just walk into the. My mate Callum Gannett was in graphics, and they like him and the teacher, like they'd all just be, "Oh, hi Tim," because I'd just do it every so often. Just walk into the fucking. God, that's such a cool memory to do that. No one does that, but I used to do that. Just walk out of class and go into a different one. But they'd be in there like drawing and shit like that, and I'd just go in there and like pick up some pencils and just fuck around, do nothing, then walk back out again, go back into my class, fuck around, do nothing. But they like even in systems and control, we used to have this like coursework.
Why did you take systems and control? That's like the opposite of what.
I don't actually. Now I look back on it, I think it's because I'd fucked around not knowing what I wanted to do for a while, that I just had limited choices at the end of the choice section. I think I hadn't given in my selection.
Right.
So I had like this and this to choose from. Probably like food or something like that.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like,
fuck that.
Fuck that. Like baked beans on toast for me. So I never did that. But and I think on systems and control there was like a demo guy who was like, look, I made a guitar. Beep, 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 beep. And I was like, oh yeah, sounds all right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all right, was it? It was bullshit. Because you had to have this paperwork for everything you made. There's like I remember everyone's folders were like all these nicely organised things, and my teacher would just be like, "Okay, let's have a chat. Let's go through it." And he knew it was a shit work. Like he knew I didn't care. I used to instead of doing the work, I'd get the wires, and I'd they'd have these wires for like soldering shit together. Yeah, like you know that the electricity goes down. And I'd just get the different colours, and then I'd get a hand drill, and I'd get all the wires, pull them out from the rolls on the wall, get the hand drill, spin it round, and it would like make this really cool pattern on the wires. And then I'd cut it, solder it together, and then like whoever I saw at lunch would be like, "Look, I made you a bracelet. Look how sick that is." I'd be well proud of myself.
Jesus.
And then my teacher would be like, "What have you done this month?" I was like, "Well, I made 30 bracelets. What have you done?"
There you go.
Fucking nothing. So, you see my picture?
Yeah, rum and coke by the looks of it.
Spiced rum with lime in it. I am thinking though that
Captain Morgan though. Jesus.
well, no. I actually looked. I said, "What is the best spiced rum?" And I went through all of them on Google, and it's like, if you're getting a spiced rum and coke, then this is the best one. So I was going to experiment with all these different ones. I really wanted to get a bottle of Kraken just because the bottle looks cool. But then I was in the shop and I was like, well, if I try this one to start with, then over the next few years I can try some different ones, and this will always be my base judgment because I know this taste.
Yeah, right, yeah.
But I hadn't had it for a long time, so I might just suddenly try Kraken and be like, oh, that's amazing. But actually it's not. It's just I haven't had one in a long time, so I have to have this one first. But yeah, I'm fed up of buying these small mixer cans for this podcast. Like I might as well just get a fucking bottle.
Yeah, you made a good choice there. Shall we ever talk about the latest news in the sporting world?
Oh, this is brilliant. This is brilliant. So Can I introduce, since
Yeah.
I'm the footballing man out of both of us, I suppose, even though you've got it in the family. So around 48 hours ago,
I think you need to start from the beginning.
well, that's when it happened, 48 hours ago.
Nah, it's been longer than that.
Okay, well, I mean, a few months back, there were rumours about these teams creating a super league. So the way
Who?
the big teams.
Go on.
So the way football works is you have leagues all around the world where teams compete to win that league. A league is consisting of a table with points in it. A cup is different because you can be knocked out at different rounds of the cup. So the league is basically the basis of how a team performs over a year or a season. And you have leagues in Germany, France, everywhere. They all kind of have their own leagues. The main ones are France, Germany, Italy, and England, and Spain, with Italy, Spain, and England being the main ones. Now, England is like pretty much the main one because the Premier League is like the balls of football. And what has been the struggle is that there is a Champions League, which is a European competition where all of the teams at the top of their leagues qualify to get into the Champions League, which is a cup tournament where there are group stages, which is a mini league where you have 4 teams who compete against each other.
It's like a World Cup, but not
Exactly. And everyone wants to get into the Champions League because if you get into the Champions League, you will be given lots of money. Your fans will turn up to lots of games, and your prestige as a club goes up. And the money that you get from that is big. The football money that you get from it, from the TV rights, is big. Everything's big about the Champions League. Now, there were rumours around 3 or 4 months ago that a few of the top teams, thinking things like Barcelona, Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, German clubs like Bayern Munich, PSG from France, all these clubs wanted to band together to create their own Super League, which is kind of an Americanized format of sporting competition where it's not that you are in the league based on performance like the Champions League, but instead you are in the league because you have international pedigree, a shitload of money, and previous history of doing well. So it's basically nothing to do with your current performance. The reason they wanted to make this is because if they miss out on Champions League, like Man United and a few other clubs have done recently, they're this huge football club with a lot of overheads and huge sponsors who are looking at them saying, why am I paying you this much money? You're not even in the Champions League. And it kind of becomes a downward spiral, especially if they don't get into the Champions League for the next year. And these clubs are all sitting there thinking, well, in the whole league, we bring in 80% of the revenue. The TV rights, they pay most to watch us, not to watch shit teams like Brighton and all that shit at the bottom of the table, the smaller clubs. Now, the problem with this sort of mentality is the way football works, especially in England, but also in other countries, is it is a pyramid scheme whereby the top clubs get awarded money but are contractually obliged to support lower clubs and grassroots football, which is little boys, your sons on Sunday kicking a football around. And the idea being that if they can support that football pyramid, that talent, and not only talent, but also the sport in general, can be more than just a money game, but actually something people can base their lives around, enjoy as exercise and everything like that, and become part of the local community. It is flawed if we don't have that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem with having people not competing to be in the Champions League is you remove that pyramid. So this is what they were talking about sort of 3 to 4 months ago. Everyone kind of thought, probably never going to happen. The fans would never stand for it. So whatever. 48 hours ago, I don't actually know the name, the European Super League, I think they were calling it. They made an official announcement that they're hoping to start this league. They've had all of the big teams sign up, apart from Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund from Germany. So every big team, including questionably shit teams like Arsenal and Tottenham, But any team that had any money or business savviness about them had managed to get a space in the European Super League, which was interesting because it's the first time in sport where this sort of money grab has taken place. And what I can essentially see it as is it's a gatekeeper money grab whereby not only do the people who own the clubs get to take more money, it was actually predominantly funded by JP Morgan, I believe, with something like 30 billion, maybe more than that, put up as a seed round like funding for this competition. But it's also a chance for the middleman, the people who are thinking of these ideas, who work as businessmen in the club, to be like, oh, well, if I can get this done, then I'm going to get, I might get like 5 million commission or something like that. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Not actually thinking about the fans, the football club, the game itself, but thinking more about their paycheck.
Yeah.
So as it stands, the announcement was made and the footballing world went into uproar, which was brilliant to see, to be honest, because it isn't very often that people unite in the football world. We're all so competitive against each other that we don't really have much to unite us. But there is one thing that can unite us. It's that we love football just the fucking way it is. And there's a reason football's popular. And there's a reason it's probably the number one sport in the world. It's because it's fucking perfect. Don't need to fucking change it. Yeah. And I guess the worst part about it was that the ESL Super League was saying, as part of the PR stunt, we need to do this to protect football and to protect our fans' intentions and to make them happy. And the fans were like, never fucking said that, mate.
Yeah.
So to surmise, so I don't go into a rant forever, what happened was football pundits, Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, everyone else who's anything to do with football came out and said, this is bollocks. The players came out and said, this is bollocks. The captains met and said, this is bollocks. And the fans stood outside the stadiums and said, this is bollocks. And then pretty much soon after that, the club started to pull out one after another, and it all kind of came down one after the other. But the funniest part about all of it was that Gary Neville said that these people are bottle merchants. The second something starts to go wrong with this, they will fall over like dominoes, and it will be exciting to watch. But we must stand up now to make sure that they don't get away with this. And it was funny because it literally happened exactly like that. And the best part is that a lot of the bad people in football who are trying to do these money sort of deals have now had to resign. But it's an interesting one because I think this is exactly the sort of thing that goes on with the Tory government, these gatekeeping deals. And I think it's a lot of what's going on in the world. These middleman deals that just get pushed through and no one is the wiser.
Yeah. Lining their own pockets.
Yeah.
With the cash mooly.
Yeah, and it's bullshit. Like, even if I was working in football and I could get a shitload of money, like, I don't think I'd take any amount of money to not enjoy if you had to pay me to not enjoy the enjoyment I get, you know what I'm like. I mean, Claudia does as well. Like, I'll be like, Man United are playing tonight. I'll stay up till 10 o'clock in the evening watching it online. I fucking love it. It's great. It's like the highlight of my week. Don't fuck with the highlight of my week.
Yeah.
You talk to your dad about it because Woody's dad used to be a financial advisor for a football club.
Financial officer.
Yeah.
He basically said exactly what you said, like down to
Get him
a T.
a job at Man United. Ed Woodward's resigned. Have you told him?
He doesn't want to work in football, man.
I want him to work in football.
No,
I want someone who works in football I trust.
You don't. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it because of that yet.
You don't. You like the whole. You think about it, right? If you're working in a football club, even if you're administrator, right? Your CV says worked at wherever, Brighton FC, right? Where's your next job going to be? In another football club. So basically what happens in football is the entire staff just rotate around clubs. And it's just this toxic, like, like, I don't know, just toxic circle of just shifting people around. People some new people trickling in at the top, trying to get their money and coming out. It's just like this whole galaxy of, like, spiraling galaxy of shit that's just being stirred around every year. And Dad's just like, no, I just don't want to be part of that anymore.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I bet it was exciting when he was, though, especially at the age that he was.
Yeah, when he was younger, probably, yeah.
Because didn't he used to take you to the games a bit and stuff?
Yeah, we used to take us to the games, used to get free tickets to some of the Wembley games.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Went and saw Millwall and play not West Ham. Millwall play Man United in 2000 and I'd like to say 2004.
There's an interesting analysis to make here, though.
I think it was the FA Cup.
So
Semi-final.
we spoke a few episodes back about the riots to do with Kill the Bill. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't really heard much more of that. Did the bill go through?
Don't know.
See, no one really fucking knows, do they?
That's what I mean. It just went after that little thing. It just went under the radar. I bet that bill's gone through. Nobody's any wiser, and now this has now changed.
I know it wasn't, but it could easily have been like, oh, let's pretend to take football away, and then we'll just, yoink, bill's gone through, see you later. But, God, it's interesting because this is the first time where I've ever really seen people say no, and
it gives some hope, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I mean, what does it take, though? You have to look at the hierarchy of this. So it takes the people to say no. It takes the workers, the celebrities within that sector to say no.
The pundits, yeah.
It takes the pundits, the celebrities, and then any lower working clubs to also say no.
Yeah.
There were also threats like they wouldn't be allowed to play in international competitions and all these weird things as well. But I don't know. I don't know if there are many things that really could unite. And it wasn't like there was a million people marching. It was just everyone on fucking Twitter just like, this is BS.
Yeah.
And the news story around it as well. It was because it was very obvious what was written on. I mean, the funniest part about all of it is that I can't imagine that, because one of the things they said about it is like, you're doing this in a pandemic. Like, really? We've been sat here over the last year and a half like this, and you've been sitting there thinking, oh, yeah, let's get a bit more money out of this football thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take football away from them. What can we do? But the funniest thing is it just goes to show the incompetency of people that are senior to us in society, because it's just like at work when you look up to your seniors, there's often... I think when you first start in your career, there's an appreciation of their level. But a lot of people have talked to me about the principle of being promoted to the level of incompetency.
Mm.
And I'm really imagining the Zoom calls that took place to arrange this ESL league.
Yeah.
I'm imagining little Ed Woodward and all the other people sat there on a call like, oh, yeah, how you doing? Like the little small talk at the start. And the one thing that I would kill to have seen is the day after all the hysteria came out in the news of everyone saying, fuck this. I would have loved to have seen the Zoom call when they're all popping in one by one, and it's just one of them who set up the call sat there, and they're just like trying to make their little small talks before getting into the real problems.
Yeah.
And I bet they're doing all their small talks. Oh, yeah, COVID, yeah. Oh, what have you had for dinner? Oh, great, yeah, great. Your office looks nice, yeah. If you had a tan, oh, yeah, I was out in the Bahamas. And then one of them comes in and is like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
You told us this was going to be good. And I wish I could have seen that when it's just sort of decayed after that, because some of them have lost their jobs. Fair play. I'm sure they'll find another job working for, some other big corporation. But
probably football clubs.
It's just funny that they thought they could do it. That's the funniest part of it. It's like there really is no level to which these people are just really detached from society and detached from the meme norm of what people expect the world to be like. And that's one thing that government manages to do really well. It's almost like if you call people honourable gentlemen and all this glamour, you can just sort of slightly get things through without people noticing. I don't know. It's been a mad week, to say the least, with football. This has been the biggest thing that's happened in football in our lives, and it's happened within 48 hours.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Don't take things for granted, I guess.
What?
Well, I mean, you think football's forever. You think all this, you wake up is going to be... It's like the football channel I watch for Man U. They were saying, like, we thought this was going to be a quiet week. We've only got one game. We were sitting there at the start of the week saying, we've got fuck all to do this week. One game on Thursday, so you can have a day off, you can have a day off, you can have a day off. And then it all started happening. They spent, like, 48 hours hunkered in the office, like 3 of them sleeping over doing streams about it. Like, jeez. Difficult times. So, I gave a little update on Miyako last week with the Ladybirds.
Oh, yeah.
And we had you were with me when she thought that Jerry the Ladybird died, but he did come back to life, and we've actually found another Ladybird to put with him. So there's 2 in the little, I think it's a caterpillar hatching kit that they're kept in now. But there's another thing that happened, which is, so I learned this phrase from my boss, Fred, at work, which is like, he says, whenever someone says to the product team, oh, sorry, I've got hiccups. Whenever anyone says to the product team, we'd like a website that does this, or can the cash out button be a bit bigger, or can we build a new native app that has this sort of tool with it? And basically, whenever it's like a bit much, he's just like, no, we can't do it. And whenever they argue, it's just like, well, I want a fucking Ferrari. Like, I don't have one. I want a Ferrari. Where's my Ferrari? I don't have one. So his saying is, I want a Ferrari, yeah.
Right.
And so what I've done a lot is, with your kids, they will always ask, like, oh, I'd like that. Can I do this? Can I do this? Or I'd like this. Or, you know what I mean? I'll be in the shop and we'll be at the till, and she's like, oh, look at this little chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Or look at this Kinder Egg. You know, I think Claudia's mum once showed her what Kinder Eggs are, and ever since then, there's always the Kinder Egg question. So I always say, well, I want a Ferrari. And she took like 5 months of it just distracted her. She was like, what the fuck's a Ferrari? Like, what do you mean you want a Ferrari?
Yeah.
I want a chocolate egg. And I was like, yeah, well, I want a Ferrari. So I just told her after a few months later, I was like, well, a Ferrari is a really fast car. She's like, well, we've got a fast car. And I'm like, no, my car can go fast, but it's not a fast car.
Yeah.
And they're normally red. She's like, yeah, well, blue's a nice colour, all this stuff. Yeah. But I found out today that when Miyako was having a little heart-to-heart with Mummy in the morning, it's my birthday coming up soon, and
Daddy wants a Ferrari.
Miyako's decided that she's going to buy me a Ferrari. So I'm really fucking looking forward to it. And, it's been a lot of birthdays over the last few years where I've been thinking, I'm getting older, I'm not going to get fuck all. Maybe I'll get some trainers if I'm lucky. I haven't had trainers. I've been looking for trainers for the last 3-4 years.
This time.
But, the trainers haven't arrived. But, this year. Well, I'm just saying, Claudia. No, I got boots, and that was after the 3rd year of wanting trainers. I've always wanted trainers. Always wanted trainers. I've always just wanted to, sometimes I've had a box and I've thought, it's a brand new pair of trainers. And it's not that I love getting trainers. I'm not a trainer guy, yeah. But the fact that I'm not a trainer guy makes me want trainers for my birthday, because I'll never buy them with my own money. I'll never sit there and be like, I've got to get the new pair of Nike Airs. I'm just not that person.
Yeah.
It's a nice feeling, a little box. Oh, look at these. But then the struggle is that if you haven't actually gone out and put them on.
Yeah, you don't have
I've got narrow feet, yeah. I don't have feet like everyone else, so I have to actually try a few pairs on to be like, yeah, I can actually wear these without clobbering my feet side to side like a hot dog down a hallway and all that stuff. So, I'm getting a Ferrari, so.
Nice one.
And I showed her as well today on my phone. I showed
problem is now
Ferrari,
is that problem is now is if she gets you a Ferrari, I presume she's going to probably get you like a toy Ferrari.
Well, I did say this, Claudia. I said to Claudia, was like, "Well, it's not going to happen, is it?" I was like, "Well, I could get a fucking toy Ferrari. That'd mean a lot to me because I'd put it on my shelf.
Exactly.
And I'd be like, I'd always remember the fact that that was the Ferrari that Miyako got me. But
Yeah,
now I've said that aloud, it almost takes the specialness away from it, from Claudia. So,
well, here's the other thing: is if she does get you a Ferrari, however that may come, you now cannot refuse to buy her something. Because she said, "Well, I got you a Ferrari. I want a Kinder Egg."
well, I'd be like, I want a fucking motorbike.
Okay, mate, what? Eye for an eye.
Actually, no. I'll be like, okay, I've got a Ferrari. I'm going to drive you in my Ferrari, and we're going to go and get a Kinder Egg. And I'd buy her a Kinder Egg, and I'd give it to her, and I'd look down at her, and I'd think to myself, well, I've got a Ferrari.
Yeah,
it's all fine.
Fair enough.
But I did actually show her. So I was on my phone, and I typed in on the top bar, Ferrari. And I was like, they're normally red. She's like, oh, red's a bit of a boring colour. And I was like, yeah, well, you can get different colours if you want. And then she was like, oh, well, can you show me a colourful car? So I typed in colourful car. And then she suddenly realised that, like, oh, so on phones, like, you can just
type anything.
You can just ask for what you want, and it's there. And I was just like, oh, don't go down this rabbit hole. It's like, it's time for bed. Jesus Christ. Right, so phone went away straight away. But yeah, I mean, do you know what's weird? The other day she called me Alexa, and I was like, fuck.
Jesus.
She was like, Alexa. I was like, no, daddy. Jesus. You know what I mean? It was only because she'd been, she has a thing with, she says to Alexa, CBeebies. And then Alexa reads her a story or something like that. And she does that when we turn the TV off in the day. And then she thinks, oh, no technology. And she's like, oh, shit, Alexa's there for me.
Alexa's still awake.
And then she bops Alexa for a bit. And then after that, she's like, fine, bricks, Play-Doh, drawing. I did get her from Poundland. I got her this maths book, which is for age 3 to 4, which is quite good. So I sit with her and we do a bit of maths every day. Claudia does it with her in the morning, and I do it with her in the afternoon. And she's doing well with that. So, yeah, full steam ahead on parenting. Just got to hurry up and get the next one out and skip till they're 3 years. But yeah, I was talking the other day because, Claudia's going to be having a cesarean. Okay. That's the intention anyway.
Why?
Well, she had a really, really shitty first time with Miyako, which I think is partly because Claudia is a very small person, but also just because, well, it's not easy. I think it's like squeezing a grapefruit through your dick.
She doesn't want to try it, though. She doesn't want to give it another go.
Pardon? What? She doesn't want to do the second one? She's already given it a go. What do you mean?
No, like, give it another go. Like, give it another shot. Try again.
No, mate. Like, I don't want to be in the fucking room for that. Like,
no, I know, but like for females, I think it's a thing. It's like,
no, I don't think
for
she
some
does.
females,
I think she just wants
it out. Just get it.
Just wants it. Yeah, she just wants it done. I think she definitely just wants it done.
That's fair enough.
And she's had a few people around her saying to her, like, a C-section is the way forward. People who have tried both, and they're like, why the fuck did I ever do it the other way?
Yeah. Now, the interesting...
I also think it's a good idea because I think it's, like, safer. Like, we never talk about the fact that, like, women fucking die giving birth to children. I know not very often nowadays, but especially back in the old days.
Yeah. I think it's probably easier for the baby as well, just to be, like, taken out.
Yeah, well, as I was thinking in connection with our earlier topic about people's insides and shit like that, I hope there's a fucking wall up between that because...
What do you mean a wall?
Well, when it's a normal birth, like, you have a choice to, like, see stuff, yeah? And I was very much up near by the shoulders, but there was one point where they told me to walk around to the other side.
Jesus.
And, yeah, I, like, caught it kind of, like, out the corner, out the corner, I was like, whoa! I was like, fucking run around the other side. I was like, can't keep going, whoa, that was fucked up, keep going. But then with the C-section, I think it'll be a bit more like, just like...
Go into a room, out you come with a baby.
Box, take the baby out, put it in a basket, wrap it in flowers. There you go.
Yeah.
And off you'll pop. But she's going to be really, really fragile for a while because you can't like move and stuff like that. Otherwise, you rip your tummy open and then fucking other babies fall out of it. So my mum was like, well, do you want me to come over and like be with you for a week so that whilst you're working or whilst you're doing all this stuff, like it's not all too much because Tim, you're going to have to be like,
around,
you're going to have
babies
to
look
yeah,
after.
you're going to have to do everything and mum's going to be lying there in bed most of the time. And I said to my mum, I was like, well, I appreciate the offer, but I actually think that
you should go through it.
Considering the first time how I was like rushed back to work, stressed the whole time, I actually don't even freaking remember most of it. Yeah. And Miyako's been the best thing of my life. But I see Miyako and I just see her like as she looks right now. I don't have a vision of her as like baby. I remember I can sort of close my eyes and remember holding her the first time and things like that. But from holding her the first time to like these chapter events, there's just like a few bits in between, and then boom, she's here and she wants a Kinder Egg and to buy me a Ferrari. It's like there's no in between. Yeah. So I really want to take the time this time, and not only that, but I want to be there and for Claudia to like look at me at the end of the 3 weeks and be like, okay, yeah, I do everything. I do everything for Tim most of the time. But when it matters, he is capable of like 10% of my output, and he's worth me sticking with. So if I can do that, I'll be proud of myself. So I mean, don't expect much from me on that week's podcast episode. I'll have one kid in one hand and Miyako in the other, saying, "Where's my Kinder Egg?" It'll be fucking madness. But I'm looking forward to it.
When is the due date?
When's the due date, babe? See, I don't even fucking know that. Like
August. I think it's like end of August.
End of August? Beginning of August. See, like if I was in charge, I'd be waiting for another 2 weeks.
Beginning of August.
So
difficult life for that baby.
Do you always like this? You always with your little analytic. Oh, we're going to have this. It's going to be fucking born into a world where everything's possible, where they don't even need to go to school. Like she'll just have whatever she wants, and yeah, she's got a brilliant name as well, little Kiyomi and Miyako, little Japanese names for their Indonesian English heritage. Mm-hmm. What was I going to type in? What star sign is August? Jesus. It changed. I thought it was just every month is a different one. There's overlaps.
Yeah, there's overlaps.
Fucking difficult stuff. So it's got a chance of being a Leo or a chance of being a Virgo. The introverted Virgo is very hard to catch. Those born under the Virgo zodiac are so reserved that it's hard to even get to know them, much less win their hearts. Jesus Christ, let's get it out before then. Leo. The Leo is willing to give help to those in need. Very cheerful and uplifting. Oh, wow, I know what I want.
Yeah,
the Leo's
Leo,
personality is, Jesus Christ, whoever thought up astrology is like, well, I bet he had an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend that was a Virgo and was like, oh, yeah, those people are cunts.
Yeah.
Right. Jesus. What star sign are you?
Pisces.
Pisces. I didn't think people actually were Pisces.
Well,
no one's ever said that to me.
I'm a Pisces Aries cusp. Like the date.
Oh, of course you are.
Exactly.
I'm not really. I didn't come from that star of constellation or that one. I was a little star in between.
Yeah.
With my 1% personality. My name's Woody Briggs. Pisces.
Pisces.
Tell me what? Oh, is it not Pisces? Or Pisces?
It's Pisces.
Just tell me about their Jesus, this
so
DuckDuckGo is a piece of shit, honestly. You can't ask it questions. PC's don't tell me your personality. I want to Google it because Google knows better than you. Oh, here we go. Look, you're definitely a cuss because this person is known for being empathetic. Oh, you got the generous part. They can also suffer from being overly emotional. No. Impressionable. Don't really know what that means. And closed off. I say you're closed off, empathetic, generous, and incredibly creative.
Now look at the Aries.
Oh, here you go. So look, you're just picking mixing, aren't you?
Yeah, why not? I've got the choice of both, so
Um, Aries is a passionate, motivated, and confident leader. I don't think
not sure
so.
about that.
Not motivated, not passionate, don't really want to be a leader. Disposition and relentless determination. You're quite determined in certain things. Uncomplicated and direct in their approach. Well, I think you're complicated but direct. They often get frustrated by exhaustive details
No,
and unnecessary nuance. Yeah, mate. If
more
you
of a
were a
Pisces.
cusp, you're like, yeah, your foot's on the Pisces side
Yeah.
more. You got one toe in the Aries thing. So not thinking about where the star signs fall. Do you know what mine is? If you don't know, try and guess it.
Uh, it must be. It must be.
No, you can't just guess it from my birthday. You're supposed to guess it based on my person. That's boring.
I don't know the personalities though.
Well,
I
geez, you're supposed to be a
you
man of research.
could be very close to the end of Aries.
No, so I'm the best one. So if anyone wants to know what the best star sign is, it's Taurus. Not only because I represent it, but just because we have these really cool things. We're a ball to start with. Like, what are you, Aries?
I'm a fish. I'm a
Pisces,
fish.
you're a fish.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck fish. And what's Aries?
Like a
Undecided shape. Right, come on.
No, it's not. It's Aries is like some mythical fucking.
Yeah. Oh, it's mythical.
I'm not an Aries.
Dude, Aries, if you look at the star shape, it's just like a little finger that's bent.
No, it's not. It's like a ram or like a goat.
Yeah, but if you actually look at the stars, they've done an awful lot to call that a ram. Because it's just a line that bends. I'm looking at this right now. It's a line that bends. There is no representation of. It is nothing like what they say it is. Like, when you look at Orion and his belt, I see a man with a belt. When I look at Aries, I'm seeing 4 stars in a row that are slightly bent.
Right.
And out of all the stars in the universe, to try and say that they're a shape, I think we can do better. They were really struggling for that one. But don't worry, it doesn't mean you're not special. So the ball, which is obviously the best one, which is actually more of a K shape now I look at it, so they could have just said K.
Wait, I'm not really sure how they got from Pisces either.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a bit bullshit, innit?
It is, isn't it? They should have got us to do it.
You would have found better
I'd
stars
have been
than
like, that one, that star, yeah, I looks like a bit of a cunt, that. You're a cunt. So...
I don't know how you got Taurus. I don't know how that's a ball from Taurus either.
Oh, no, it's a clear ball. I can see the ball.
No.
I feel the ball. It's running at me right now. In fact, it's almost so much of a ball that I'm starting to think that a ball looks more like a star than a ball. Maybe we should call balls something different.
What the hell is Sagittarius? This is like some crazy...
I haven't even got to say what we are yet. Can I represent my people, please?
No.
Taurians, like the bull, are known to be intelligent, dependable, hardworking, dedicated, and stubborn. I'm all of those things.
Maybe.
I'm absolutely dependable. I was late to the podcast and I apologised. What happened yesterday? Just so everyone knows, we're recording this on a Wednesday, guys, and we normally record it on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I won't push those buttons anymore because
I think
Woody
my
gets
dad's
quite upset when you put him in a box.
I think my dad's going to go get me some chocolate buns.
What, is he bringing them down now?
No. He's gone to the shop. And he said he messaged me on Discord. Do you want? I'll go get some milk. You want anything? I went buttons, and he went, all right.
That could be a segue into a good topic.
Go on.
What would I talk about if I was going to talk about chocolate buttons, Woody? Are we allowed to go there?
Yeah, we can go there.
So I had the privilege of going over to Mr. Woody Briggs's house this week due to COVID being released, and obviously we're on a content grind. We've got loads of content coming your way, so subscribe, comment, and all that stuff. But we're around there making some content. And I brought loads of things that are really good fun for the content coming your way. And yeah, I went upstairs to look at the decorating that they've been doing. And they've been doing up the house nicely. There's a couple of rooms that have been whitewashed on the walls, really brightens the place up. It's almost like a new house. But one thing that hasn't changed is that Mr. Willie Briggs, his bedroom is a fucking shithole.
Yeah.
And it's quite remarkable, really. And I know that you have your shed, so the bedroom is very much a bed in a room.
Yeah.
But it's just the abundance of shit and wanky woo-woos that's lying around.
I just sleep in there.
I just expected better of you. Yeah, well, that's what concerns me, because there were chocolate buttons, and I mean, so you have a bedside table, people, which is like the size of a bedside table. I don't need to show the dimensions. So Woody is somehow, like a deck of cards. If you were to stack them into a tower, it'd probably be as high as like your forearm, maybe with a few inches on top. He's managed to sort of do this sort of artistic creation, which is chocolate button packets, which is 150 grams of chocolate, and he's managed to pack these into a tower on the side of his bedside table.
I think there's about 7.
And no, there's not 7. There was about 35.
No, it's not. There's 7.
Well, you say 7, I say 35, so there's probably about 12. So I was just amazed. But the problem is that if I eat past like 10 o'clock and I'm about to go to bed, I get heartburn. If I eat chocolate before I'm about to go to bed, mate, it's awful. So I'm just curious, like, do you get that, or is that just me who gets that?
I don't get that.
Deary me.
I just love chocolate.
Yeah, but you wake up with the old chocolate.
I still brush my teeth.
Yeah, but you need to do more than that. You need like 5 fairies brushing your teeth to make that better.
Yeah, I know.
I think we need to work on that. Like, we talked about Body Harmonious earlier.
Those packets have been there. They've
been there for years, he says.
No,
I don't think so. And what I was upset about is there always used to be a pack of munchies on your fucking shelves, and I looked there this time and I couldn't see them.
No, but before I left for Dubai, I cleared the whole room out. There's like
Dubai or Dubai? Just checking.
There's very little left in there.
Oh, okay. And you got rid of the munchies that have been there for like 10 years.
Got rid of the munchies.
You could have fucking framed those. I always wondered how someone could have a pack of munchies in their room for so many years, and not one day just look at them and be like, "Oh, I'll have a little bit of munchies." You never did that.
Because it got to a point. I think it got to a point where I couldn't remember how old they would be, and I thought, well, they're probably not any good anymore, so I just left them there.
Jeez. Deary me. I don't know. Chocolate before bed is not good.
Nice
and
cup
that's
of
what he said.
milk. Have a little rest. Go clean your teeth. Get back into bed.
So I have a question.
Go on.
So, as you do, struggling for topics. I was walking around earlier and I thought, what was one of the best topics we ever covered? And I thought one of them was immortality. And not to scratch that itch further, but to scratch it somewhat. I talked about the idea of heaven going on forever and ever and ever, and how that would be awful. But then I kind of wanted to flip that question on its head and to say, so if you were to go to heaven, and heaven could be something that you can choose because it's meant to be amazing, so obviously you choose it, what would that be? What is the best thing that you could make heaven? Like, you're going to spend an eternity somewhere. What is the best you can make it? And you can't say like, oh, I need my family there. It's got to be like it's just a singular experience. And if you're lucky, somehow this heaven has a dilemma where if other people pop off whilst you're up there, they come and join you. They do what they want to do, but they can also experience what you're doing. So it can't be full of strippers, because obviously you'll be embarrassed when everyone else comes up, but there might be something. What would you think of doing? Famous song, Heaven is a Half Pipe.
I would
Oh, I'd have a little room for tinkering.
No, I think I'd like it to be on a farm.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think I'd
There's
like
something
it.
about that, isn't there? There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people, especially people that I speak to in Europe. When I do gaming, a lot of them are fucking driving towards having these farmlands, and like that is actually the value of life,
Yeah,
living off the fat of the land, that sort of thing.
yeah, makes sense. Just feels right. Feels like that's how we should be.
Yeah.
Not overproducing, just making enough for maybe, well, enough for your family to survive, and maybe a little bit to sell so that you've got, or not even sell, just make enough so that you've got something to trade.
There's a little bit that comes with it though, which is that I always look at farming and I think, oh, that looks like fucking loads of effort. But then you do have a lot of time to put into that effort. Like if
Exactly.
I had a huge field, I could wake up one day of the year and just drive my tractor 10 meters forwards and be like, yeah, right, there you go, I'm done. And then next day I'd come out and do 10 meters more. That's not to say that's how farming works. I've got no fucking clue. Maybe they have to do loads of work and do fields and fields every day. But yeah, it's always like a daunting aspect. But I will be dabbling my toes as soon as I move house in farming by growing my own vegetables and shit. So it's definitely interesting. And I think what's more interesting is the idea of a little tropical farm like you've been looking at. Well, to
Yeah.
not to do it in the UK is what I'm saying. Like, fuck doing
No,
it in the
yeah.
UK. It's just rapeseed and animals. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I really like the idea of being in a tropical farm.
I hope you do because I want to come and visit a tropical farm.
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
It'd be good because I could just like, obviously it'd be an open invitation, so I could just like book a month off work, have a free holiday to this amazing farm place, and you'd be able to show me what it's like. And I wouldn't have to do it, so I'd have to spend all year doing it, but I could just get little bite-sized examples.
I wouldn't be doing it if I was there.
Yeah, but you can't.
Pay someone to do it.
You can't have slaves anymore.
It's cheap labour. Just pay someone to do it. I'll just tell them what to do. Continue tinkering, and I'll just do the things. I will do the things that I want to do, and I have
fixing the tractor,
fixing the tractor, setting up an aquaponics farm, monitoring it, adding monitoring systems to it, setting up freshwater supplies, setting up solar panels, setting up battery banks.
Isn't that such a more interesting thing to do with your talents than developing technology?
I know. That's why I want to do it.
I just think like, so there's like ones and zeros, and then there's just like artistic colors and life and all these things out there, and I feel like there's always, especially over the last 20 years, there's been like a glorification of working with technology simply because people don't understand it. Like, one of the coolest things about working in blockchain is it's like, oh yeah, I work in blockchain. Like, even Claudia at work with like her, because they work in a bank, yeah, and obviously a bank's always like, oh, blockchain, fuck blockchain, like, oh, we just want to do things our way. But then she'll be like, they'll be like, oh, what does your partner do? Oh, he works in crypto, yeah. They have their own crypto token, Bitcoin, you know, that sort of thing. Oh, and then they look at her engagement ring and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I know that no man's going to steal my partner, so it's great. But God, I think the glorification of working in technology is getting real, and as soon as technology supersedes what we can do with it, fuck me, we'll be alleviated from this relationship of having to continuously poke these machines and these technologies that only need to be poked because we're so useless at making them. All right.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not to say it's not great working in tech, especially to all of Woody's employees listening, or colleagues, not employees. It's great. We love it. We love it. We don't want it to end. But it does come with limitations, and to ignore them is to be a goon.
So, I have no shame in saying this, I would love to be able to imagine a world where humans no longer do programming. Because there are very few humans that are good at programming. I'm not one of them. I feel like I'm okay at it, but the more we program, the more we move towards digital life, I think just the worse things are getting. That's why I want, eventually, hopefully, I would like to change my direction a little bit and do technology for farms, because I feel like that's a lot closer to the kind of technology that I would like to work for.
Bad. I want you to do that so bad. And then I want you to just, as soon as you do the aquaponics, I just want you to, for 1 second, just become mediocrely interested in fish.
I'll have to be interested
and
in
moss
fish
and soil. Even today. So people who don't know on the podcast, I'm a big aquariums fish person. Like my fish tank looks like a shithole right now, but that's only because I know I'm moving house. And when I move house, oh god, the walls are going to be full of them. Tropical tanks, not.
I would never. So here's the thing, though: is I'm not the kind of person to like want to buy something purely because it looks nice. Like I don't think I would enjoy.
I don't like it for that either, though. I don't like having a fish tank because it looks nice. What I specifically like about it is challenging myself to replicate a natural environment inside, like, you know, when you said about creativity inside of a closed defined with rules.
Yeah, that's your rules.
That's exactly what you have with this opportunity to do aquascaping. Is you have the rules, such as what's the coil with the third, you know, like the third, like you should position objects a third away from each other to make the
Fibonacci.
Yeah, the Fibonacci sequence. A lot of people use that. I don't personally, but there are people who do use that. There are loads of different types of aquascapes you can do, whether it's like a natural life thing, or iwagumi, which is just having like moss, carpets, and stone poking up. It's a very Japanese feel.
I guess...
have you seen Japanese gardening where they have the sand and they rake through the stones and everything like that? That's exactly what your creativity would point itself towards. And I know it's not necessarily like you want to get something out of it.
Yeah,
you want to grow something out of it, but you can still do that. You can still do that. There's people who grow like sweet potatoes out the top of their tanks as well, and it doesn't have to look nice.
That's just a novelty.
No, but your aquaponics is the same thing.
No, it's not.
It is. Growing vegetables out of fish waste.
Yeah, but it's not a novelty. I'm not growing one potato. I'm growing a whole fucking array of potatoes.
Yeah,
and a bit of moss and stones in the fish tank's not going to do anything. It's just wasting space that I could have an extra fish there.
And that's fine. I don't want you to do aquascaping, but I'll be interested to like turn up and to see, oh, you've got some rice fish over here doing this, like, and to see how like nature does play a role into whatever you're doing, because it definitely will help. And when you do things like technology, nature has no role to play. So it's interesting to me. I think it's so much more unique and elegant and not just ones and zeros. So I know you won't be an aquascaper. I know that. I mean, I'm not either. Like, I've done a few tanks. I need to do a lot more. But you like moss walls. Why do you like moss walls?
It's green, isn't it?
Is that your favourite colour?
No, it's just... humans like green, don't we? We like green things.
I think that'd look really good in our house, actually, now I'm thinking about it. If we could whitewash the walls and do like a Scandinavian sort of interior and have... I don't want to do Scandinavian, though. Fuck that.
So I was going to say this, actually.
Some moss walls.
I was going to message Liza. I was going to say, if I ever get a house, and I hope I do, I hope I build my house, but if I do get the chance to build my house... I not only want it to look good inside and out.
You want it to work good?
No. I want it to sound good.
Oh, acoustically.
I think that's an interesting thing. So I was looking online today. I mean, I've known this since I started doing like audio, maybe 9 years ago.
I'd love to take you on a house viewing. I'd love to see a estate agent's face when you're saying like, the acoustics in this room just aren't good.
Yeah. They'll be like, what?
He'd be like, "What? What do you mean the acoustics? Like, do you want me to close the window? Can you hear the road? No,
Nah,
the acoustics.
just the reverberation is just all wrong.
Reverberation's not really working for me.
It's too dry. It's too.
It might be a bit better with the carpets. Would they put carpets down in the next few months?
Yeah.
Well, I'd just love to see that continue.
So there's these. If you have a quick DuckDuckGo at the now called acoustic diffusers.
It's like the sponge pads on the wall, isn't it?
No, they're absorbers. Search for acoustic diffusers.
Acoustic. If I have a DuckDuckGo, it's probably going to fucking show me a brick, mate.
No.
Acoustic.
I did it today.
Oh right, so DuckDuckGo actually exists for these things, does it?
Images. Acoustic diffusers.
I want to get the one where I plant a tree. Acoustic diffusers.
They're usually wooden.
Oh, I have seen these things, the jiggery pokery shapes. So are they making it? So if I was to put that in a room, it would help with the acoustics. Or is it emphasizing some but not others? So how's that working?
Right. So the purpose of a diffuser is to scatter sounds, mostly high frequencies.
I see. So the different angles at which the wood is positioned is bouncing different frequencies around
Correct.
the room.
Correct.
So you could like put those in the roof or something, and you'd have a fucking bouncy room.
Well, it's not about it being bouncy.
Dude, I could put them in the double garage with the grand piano.
Yeah, exactly. So the point is, so the box room in. Here's a good thing to do. If anyone's got a small box room at home, you've got one, Tim, Miyako's room. Take some things out of there, if you can. Like when you're moving house, Tim, this will be the best time for you to do it. When that room is empty, just stand in there and do one clap. You might be able to hear it in this room through this microphone, actually. But actually, this is quite diffuse in here now because there's so much crap. So there's two types of reverbs.
That had quite an echo to it in a reverb, that did.
This will be a fairly diffuse reverb because there's just a lot of stuff in here. Which, by diffused reverb, it means it sounds clean. Like it sounds that the chaos makes it clean. It makes the direct sound of the clapping more prominent, and the reverb, because it's so scattered, it blends itself into one thing. If you're in an empty room that's square and you clap, you will hear like a flickering sound like that from the clap. It'll be very fast, but it won't be a clean sound. What I would love, this is the experience that I want of walking into my home or inviting somebody over to my home that's never been in my home. I want them to walk through the entranceway, stand in the area that is like the greeting area, and then for them to go like, wow, that sounds weird, or that sounds like, have something to comment about the sound. That's what I would like.
I think you need like a big open space for that, don't you?
I don't know. I think there's...
Dude, like entries to houses that are like big and open are fucking like, that's it. Like a house is basically made on its entrance.
Yeah.
And its hallways.
So
that's one thing I could never get over when I was doing house viewings, and I like walked in and I was like, oh, so this is the lounge. Where was the hallway? Oh, there fucking isn't one. Great.
Have you ever been to Chelmsford?
Yeah, I have been
Claudia.
to Chelmsford. Yep.
Have you ever been to the Mother Care that's in the Meadows retail retail park?
I think so, yeah, it's huge.
In the Mother Care, which is like, it's right next to a car park where the bridge is. In the middle of the Mother Care is this really strange acoustic phenomenon. They've got this sort of circle area that if you stand in just the right place and you speak, it sounds like there's two of you standing next to your ear saying it into your ear. Like, and it's really trippy. Like you talk and it's like someone's talking back at you in your ears, but it's your voice. I definitely recommend going there and see if you can find the sweet spot. Every time I go to Chelmsford, which hasn't been often since I've been back, but every time I go, I always make sure to walk through there, stand in the sweet spot, and have a little whisper. Anyway,
That sounds weird.
they're the sorts of things that I like. I think I
can get behind that. I think.
Yeah, because a lot of people
I
just
think
focus on the looks
the
of
thing is
a
though
place.
is that if you focus on having good acoustics in your house, I think you'll end up with a sick house anyway. Because I think it kind of like
It goes hand in hand with aesthetics.
it's like big open space is basically all you need in the house for it to be good. Like that's all everyone's looking for.
But I'd also like every room in a house has its purpose. And I would like to tailor the acoustics to each room for its purpose. So, like if there's like a snug room, like
So
a
there's
small
a thing
living
here
room,
that you're
I
going
want it to
into.
be warm and snug and sound, warming.
So I'm just gonna be careful here.
Okay.
So I have a lot of ambitions as well for things I might like to do in that regard. But I think, like, I can't speak for Liza, obviously, but she'll have things that she wants to do. And, like, when you say certain things, it's like, well, fuck that. Fuck the acoustics. Like, I want this. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's what I'm realising getting a house.
I think it's a compromise.
Yeah, but
think
that's
it's,
what I'm saying is like the acoustics is a pretty hard one to pin down. You're going to be like, yeah, I know it's a great house. I know the swimming pool is amazing, but that archway there is ruining my vibes. There's too much reverb.
Well, I think I started this whole conversation with the caveat that I think I would like to build my own house.
Yeah, true.
Not build it with my own hands necessarily, which I would love to be a part of that process.
Just like the farm, you just want slaves to build it for you.
No, it's just not that. It's just like I don't have all the expertise to build a house, so I'll need.
This is like my double garage. Such a struggle. I wish I could build. It's such a talent, isn't it? We don't pay builders enough. We do pay builders enough. Let's not tell them.
Yeah. I would love to have my house designed, and as part of the process of designing the house, not only do I want an architect, but I want an architect to work alongside an acoustician.
Keep holding that crypto, mate. That sounds expensive.
It does sound expensive. Or I could just go and do a university course, get the government to pay for another student loan and do an acoustics course.
Yeah.
And then just do it myself.
Yeah. I think you probably already know without a university degree.
Um,
It's like what Elon says.
Yeah, true.
Don't need to. Do you know what? I thought that was bullshit. That because I remember there was once upon a time when I sat there looking at SpaceX websites and Tesla websites and shit like that.
Did it require a university
It was
degree?
like fucking masters in this, PhD in this, that, and the other, degree in ball sucking. And then I saw this interview. He's like, yeah, we don't hire people with degrees because, well, degrees a bit institutionalized, really, isn't it? You can find information anywhere these days. And I was like, well, yeah, you can. Like, I found information scratching my balls doing fuck all for the last 3 years. Can I have a job, please?
Yeah.
And there wasn't a job spec that said that. I was like, I can build rockets. Your rockets are exploding. I bet I can, I'd be like, put a plaster there.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. Where's my job, SpaceX? Deary me. Shall I suggest a 2-minute break?
Yeah, I need to pee.
I need to get a drink and things. So, yeah.
I mean, we are 1 hour 50. This is the 1 hour 50 mark. Yeah.
God, don't try and call it early. This is the first time we got back to a long podcast.
Yeah, it's
We
2
need
hours.
to give the people what they want. All right, I'll find one. I'll find one more topic for us.
Yeah, I'll just go to the toilet.
All right, I'll get a drink. Thought I was going to be the last one back, but I seem to be the first one returning. So, welcome to the Tim Show. We don't get to do this often, but I'd like to take a moment to say I hope you've had a nice week. I hope you're sitting down on Friday, super excited to have the Just Swim cast return to your screens, to your phones, to your homes, to your life. Whether you're sitting in bed, maybe you've run a nice warm bubbly bath. I don't know how you choose to listen to us. You could always let us know in the comments. Leave us a comment. But yeah, I reckon I can get one last deep dive conversation out of Woody. I've got a good question lined up. So fasten your seatbelts. Relax those muscles. Maybe just roll your shoulders a little bit. Stretch your neck. Relax your jaw. And get ready for what I think is going to be an interesting one. Perfect timing.
Get some snacks.
Yeah, you got some food. What have you got?
Club.
Oh, an
Club
orange club.
Yeah.
Ah. I've always felt that mint chocolate works a lot better than orange chocolate.
Yeah, mint chocolate's okay.
So there was a time. Do you remember Woolworths?
Oh yeah.
So my grandma and granddad were always big proponents of chocolate. There'd always be things in this cupboard in the house.
Yeah.
And Cadbury's, they started experimenting with different types of chocolate. There was always the caramel. You know, the caramel Cadbury's used to be a big thing. I haven't seen it anymore.
No, I don't really see it
You
anymore.
remember that yellow packet?
No.
They've phased that out. They've realised no one fucking wants it. But they dabbled and they started with they did crunchy, like honeycomb, and they did orange, and then they did mint. And they had these tiny little mint crystals inside of the chocolate. I also like mint fondant in a chocolate, like an After Eight.
Oh yeah, that's good. After Eight's really good.
It's really, really good. Really, really good stuff. So,
Cream egg is my favourite. With like fondant in.
it's good.
No, it's the best.
It's very good if you freeze them.
Nah, I like them gooey.
Yeah, no, but you can freeze them and still have gooiness.
I'm not sure you can.
Nah, but well, chilled. There we go. A chilled cream egg is good.
Okay.
Because a warm cream egg is just...
Yeah, I
don't
know
get
what you
your
mean.
fingers all like...
Chocolatey.
all sticky. Like, you look at your finger and there's no chocolate on it, but you feel it and you're like, there's definitely something there.
Embedded in the skin segments.
So I've been hyping up the last topic, which is a deep dive, which I think is going to extend the length of this podcast somewhat.
Okay.
So the question is nature moving towards dissolution or integration? Not disillusion, dissolution. So the idea being that modern Western science often holds a thought that things are moving towards perhaps greater entropy. But
entropy.
you could almost argue that they're also declining us into a sense of disorder. So in contrast, ancient Eastern philosophies argue that nature is cyclical.
Right.
And that we will both move towards disorder and greater order. But there is a Western thought that as we learn and as we develop technology, and I think scientists, when you listen to scientists talk, they're always really excited about new discoveries. And of course they are. But
yeah.
I am questioning, are humans better at creating or learning? Or is that learning simply a furthering of destruction?
I think I might need an example. Might be difficult to provide an example though.
Well, I mean, you could think about how we've learnt throughout the years. So, I mean, prior to scientific learning, there was religion, wasn't there? Religion was a big conveyor belt for storytelling,
Yeah.
for idea sharing,
Yeah.
and for philosophical questioning. Also,
I think you're giving it
imprinting.
too much justice, but too much. But yeah, whatever.
No, I'm not giving it too much justice. We've given it too much justice.
Yeah. Okay.
To say that it's not those things or tried to be those things or said it was those things
Yeah.
is
Okay.
to be ignorant of our past, because we have absolutely lent on religion bigger than anything else in this world.
Yeah. Okay.
The biggest thing in this world that's going on is religion. There are hundreds, thousands of them, and within those hundreds and thousands, there are millions and billions of people who follow them.
Yep.
And not only people who follow them, but also governments,
Yes.
societies,
Yeah.
educational facilities.
Yep.
We are religious, whether we like it or not.
Yep.
Now, science is the side train that steps outside of that or attempts to. And some people question, well, is science a religion? And that's another question entirely. But I guess what I'm really asking is as we discover, to what level is it furthering,
Right.
nature itself, our role in nature,
Right.
and where this ends up, and what role we have to play, if any.
So are you questioning, like, because like there are some sciences where it's just like, but did we actually really, like, do we care? Like, do we care that you found a new species of spider? Like, that doesn't really do anything. It's just like, oh yeah, well done, you found a new spider. But like, is it really beneficial to us knowing that spider? Is that what you mean?
I mean, there's the smaller scales and there's the bigger scales. So there's, flying hadron colliders with flying molecules or atoms and things like that against each other, and seeing what happens and trying to understand how the universe works.
Yeah.
But there is also discovering spiders. And I think that in the whole scale of things, like, you can't just take one without the other. I'm talking about the entire scientific effort.
Okay.
What are we
What's the
gaining
purpose?
towards this, and is it beneficial? I guess it wasn't entirely the question, but that is a question in itself, which we can go at.
Okay, well, we'll start with that. Try and remember what the original intention of the conversation was.
I have it here on paper.
Okay. So, my scientific, and not just scientific, but also technological discoveries, they have done both good things and bad things, right? So good example of that is the atom bomb. Like, yes, it's like a deadly thing, but without us thinking that thing is possible and trying to do something to make a weapon of mass destruction, we wouldn't have nuclear power stations. And some would argue that those nuclear power stations are also bad in themselves because of the waste that they produce, but they have provided us with a bit more freedom to do things. Like, I don't know, it's supplied some power.
See, I don't know about that, though. Can I just devil's advocate quickly?
Yeah, go on.
So, we created the atom bomb and we discovered nuclear fusion so that we could have nuclear power plants.
Yeah,
Okay.
fission, not fusion.
Yeah. Fission, fusion, potato, potato. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Very different.
So, fucking magical plasma stuff that heats up and makes great shit. All the smoke. I'm thinking of, the
fusion.
Simpsons. Do you remember the Simpsons?
That's
with
fission.
Fission. Yeah, there we go. I knew it was. So, if we hadn't done the atom bomb and figured out that stuff, maybe we'd have just discovered clean energy sooner. Maybe we'd have just moved towards that. And not only that,
Maybe.
We're talking about like the impact that nuclear energy has been felt over the last 25 years.
Correct. But you're looking at the negative effects of it.
So yeah, but scroll back before 25 years and think about the role that humans played in nature. Okay. I don't think that suddenly having nuclear power to feed our species in this scale of energy consumption and growth
Was a good thing.
is a good thing.
I agree.
You know, when you look at ants,
Well, but
they're doing great jobs as they are. They're not suddenly thinking they need this
let's
thing.
build a fusion
Let's
reactor.
take over the fucking world. You know, if we had 100 legs, we'd be able to do this 10 times faster. Let's all make 100 legs out of sticks and we'll walk on sticks. They're not doing it. They're doing just fine. And humans could have done that same thing. We could have done just fine. We could still be using sticks and fire and living in tents and wigwams and caves. Would that be better?
I don't know. I suppose so.
It depends what level we're ranking this on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So
how you
if we
measuring.
look at all the animals in the world, yeah, there's a certain symbiosis and harmony to how they live in the world, which is they have a relationship with the natural world around them, with each other in terms of predator prey, but also in terms of symbiosis of living. And you know, yeah, some animals like they take a shit in the woods and like they don't care about the impact of that. They're not as, you know, it's probably a good thing, but you know what I mean? They're not sitting there being sentient and caring about these things, but they somewhat fulfill their purpose without having to further their purpose all of the time.
Right.
I don't know if humans are doing a great job by doing what we do.
Yeah. I guess the best animal to compare would be dolphins, because they have the capability of being as intelligent as, and I know we call ourselves intelligent, that's also questionable in itself, but you know, if your measure of intelligence is brain usage, like brain capacity and usage, then dolphins arguably could have the capability of being what we are, but they don't. You know, they don't really. Dolphins, like bottlenose dolphins, they don't really have any predators because they're essentially living in tribes, and so they've kind of nailed it down. They don't really have predators, and if they do have predators, they're very good at fending them off. The way that they further themselves are through things like investigating plants on the sea floor that can give them benefits, sometimes not even benefits, just for enjoyment. There's a particular plant that they can rub up against and it makes them high. Recreational purposes, you know, why do dolphins skim under the waves on the seashore? They're not catching food. They're just doing it for recreational purposes, potentially. So yeah, I think there is definitely a way of us. There was a point in time at which we were probably at the level of dolphins, like where dolphins are now, and we kind of just went, well, that's not really enough, and that could be down to, you know, we're quite an aggressive species. We're not. I mean, dolphins are as well in a way, but I understand what you mean. Like, there kind of isn't much point in us doing all these things that we do.
So, to get back to the main question, which was almost an argument against Western and Eastern philosophy. So Eastern being very much, and their religions very much focused around nature being cyclical and how a move towards disorder and greater order. A move towards disorder and then greater order and then back to disorder again.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the statement you said about hard times making strong men. When you said my son will drive a Ferrari and he will drive a wagon after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of this, and that's an Eastern thought. Yeah. To define it. It is just a thought, but more often Eastern in terms of the philosophical view. Whereas scientific Western thought has this sense of progress, of this sense of this utopia that we are like a puzzle, and we're putting a piece by piece by piece by piece, and somehow trying to draw this picture of what everything is. And I guess my question is like, so, I mean, from what it sounds like you've said just there, it sounds like it's actually a bit more cyclical in the sense that, yes, we will gain an understanding, but through our attempts to gain that understanding, the small things that we do, like inventing technologies that fish the oceans and all this crap and ruin the coral reefs and our pollution on the world and everything like that, the byproducts of that journey forward will only send us back to the point where we'll have written a book and we'll say, this is what the world is.
Yeah.
And then we'll look ourselves in the mirror and be like, oh no, that's what the world was.
Yeah.
And now we fucking destroyed it.
It's gone. Yeah.
And now we need to start again.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I'm
almost more Eastern in my ideology, I think.
I also do think, me too. I also do think that it's an inevitable. Yeah, I agree that that there is a cyclical pattern, and I think it's more. I like to believe that nature has its way of rebalancing.
Exactly.
Not indefinite. I'm not saying that it's indefinite, like the rebalancing formula always works and it works every time. There will come a point in time where it's out of nature's hands and a catastrophe could destroy nature as we know it. Probably something that we would do, in which case the cycle wouldn't continue because it's just we broke it so much. But I think there is a bound at which nature has the scope to rebalance and will do what it can to rebalance when it needs to. Not through any conscious purpose, just through necessity, basically. That's like self-inflicted almost. There will come a point in time where we do something too much, that we will rebalance ourselves.
I think we're almost there,
I think we are.
So here's a little thing that I can segue to, which I've found. This little topic was provided to us by none other than my partner, Claudia Tan. Big shout out to her. So she said to me the other day that 500,000 sharks are going to die due to coronavirus vaccines. And I kind of looked at her and I was like, some of the things, like, I don't know, her phone might be might be a bit Daily Mailed and things like that. So I was kind of like,
questionable.
Yeah. So whilst you were tinkering around getting your food and things, I thought I'd have a Google on this. So, sharks produce squalene, which is a natural oil made in their livers. Not all sharks produce this, and it's a liver oil that's only found in a few species, and these species are normally rich in squalene. So a good example would be the gulper shark.
Okay.
Gulper sharks are already at risk of extinction. So are a lot of the other sharks that are also high in this liver oil. And the liver oil is not essential for the vaccine to be successful.
Makes it easier.
It's creating a stronger immune response. So it's essentially saying this vaccine goes into you, and for it to be accepted by your body, we want a response from your body, and this shark can die for the sake of giving you increased chances of a strong reception to this vaccine.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck.
So
This is nothing. This is like, I've been watching videos of like the bottom of the ocean where there's just sharks wriggling around like worms because they've had all their fins cut off. And that's to do with shark fin soup, which is a big delicacy in quite a lot of Asian countries, but also throughout the world. And shark fin soup is reviewed as being like this tasteless, not even nice thing. What makes it worth buying is just simply the fact that
rarity.
How do you get a shark fin?
Yeah.
It's like saying that flowers on top of mountains are worth more than flowers at the bottom of mountains.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
doesn't mean
like
you should.
when you see the videos of these sharks just fucking rolling around on the bottom of the floor, it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? As if we don't even kill the shark, we just chuck it overboard.
Just kill it. At least kill it.
Like, and I just, this is it. And this is like going back to the original question of is nature moving towards what I said? It's like the byproduct of the technologies we create. Like we were watching that Seaspiracy thing, which is a bit conspiracy fueled, and I'm not sure the legitimacy of everything. But like sustainable fishing, like I think at one point a doctor in Chloe was like, well, none of it's sustainable. And then there was a picture of like, I don't know what country they were from, but some Eastern country. And they were sat there in these tiny wooden boats, like the sun's going out to fish, and they had these rods and these spears.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's sustainable fishing as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Grab a fucking spear,
try
grab
your
a fishing
best.
rod,
Fucking go at it.
off you go, mate.
Yeah, good
and
luck.
if that means when I go to the chippy, my cod costs 40 quid,
then fair enough.
even 50 quid, then fine.
Yeah.
But what we do instead is we have nets that go down to the bottom of the ocean,
Scrape up what they can.
Scrape along.
Yeah.
And these are the weirdest thing about it is like you just think to yourself like, oh yeah, but it's not really that close to home. This is probably happening out in like one of these seas that I've heard the name of, but isn't really related to me. Like nothing I can do about it. I saw a map that had it was like a live data chart of the boats that have trawler technology.
Yeah.
They're all around like the Scottish coast, like in between England and Ireland.
Yeah.
Just scraping that shit up.
Yeah.
Scraping the floors.
Yeah. So going back to the sharks, so that's a good example of a way that we will rebalance ourselves. It will get to a point where, you know, we will need something, some part of something, and we would have used it up, and it will be no more. And then next time something like COVID happens, there won't be any of that stuff anymore, and we'll just like, you know, that will be our rebalancing.
Yeah,
should have thought about, and I felt the same similar way to like oil. Like oil is something, yeah, it's you can make it, but like good luck. Like, yeah, you can wait 100 million years for you to get your oil again. Good luck even having a species in that time. And we know that it's a good, like, you know, it has good purposes, and we're still using it to like make little dehumidifier tubs out of plastic. It's just like one day there will come a time where there's been a new discovery that oil can provide, like crude oil can provide, and it will be able to like do something for us that's so amazing that it will change everything. It will change the game. And we won't have any left. And we'll go, well, fuck. Like, it would have been good if we had that, but now it's all in the ocean, in plastic.
Yeah. And then the aliens would come and be like, yeah, just use this. And they'd be like, we don't have any. And they'd be like, what'd you do with it? And be like, oh, fucking burnt it, didn't we?
Yeah, we burnt it all. Yeah.
Fucking, why'd you do that? Oh, yeah. we found out it burns.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're dickheads. So.
I understand what you mean now.
Another thing with science, which I like to go into, is the element of peer review. Peer review being that well, what it says on the tin. You have to review your work with other scientific evidence, and other people look at your work.
Yeah.
And this is, by some means, a strength, but also a weakness of science. Obviously, I can't become a scientist tomorrow and say the sea looks blue, but it's actually pink. Well, everyone else would be like, no, it's fucking not. If you didn't have peer review, then everyone would be like, oh shit, the sea's pink. Tim the scientist said so. So that's what it's there for. Now, the problem where this comes into it is I'm a big old fan of a little chap called Graham Hancock. And I think anyone listening to this podcast would also be interested in reading about Graham Hancock's writing. He is a fictional, non-fictional theology, philosophical person of some kind. But also geology is a big thing that he's into. And he does a lot of work with Randall Carson, who is also really big on geology. That's his main focus for Randall Carson. Now, what I love to think about is you talk about the idea of this like cyclical coming to an end of the human species, and then also like perhaps a rebirth. You didn't mention that much so far, but I feel like humans have been in this cycle for a very, very long time, almost like a phoenix. If you've seen Harry Potter, the phoenix, dies, comes back to life. And one thing that's really cool to look at is Graham Hancock's work on, and what he does is he looks at all of the evidence that pops up around the world, and he has this saying of things just keep getting older. And what he's looking at in specific is these things that we find that look to be human made or of some intelligent being made. But we can't explain how it was done back in that time, millions of years ago, yeah. And in human history, we have this thing called the hunter-gatherer, which is a stage in human evolution where we were hunter-gatherers, we would gather together, hunt, we were able to make basic tools to hunt, but we were by no means a civilization that had, communication, learning, any form of documentation or history. We didn't have scientific beliefs or understanding that the world was round or any of these things.
Well, we don't know if they did because they didn't leave anything left behind.
So science itself says that we don't know it because, they didn't leave anything behind. However, these things are found that show that there were understandings of that. For example, a lot of things that we find are aligned with astrological objects. One of them being the Sphinx out in Egypt, one of them being the three pyramids, others being different ones based out near the Amazon. Actually, one thing that he reports
even Stonehenge. It's quite
Stonehenge. And then the oldest, I believe, is Göbekli Tepe. I'm probably saying that wrong. But if anyone has the time to understand what I'm talking about, Google Göbekli Tepe. I'm not saying it right, but I'm sure Google will do the rest for you. And as soon as you find one picture of Göbekli Tepe and you see what it's about, and you read about 2 paragraphs, you will be like, fuck, that's mad. Okay. So where am I going with this scientific peer review? Now, a lot of Graham Hancock's work is just completely ridiculed by the scientific community. A lot of it is skeptically ridiculed with purpose, because it argues against previous work that dictates that hunter-gatherers were hunter-gatherers and that's all they could do. But really, to understand, the biggest question of any of them, and one of the questions, I say that this podcast is about trying to further the understanding of the human species and everything like that. I don't think there's much to understand about our future. I think it's pretty predestined and the walls are closing in and there isn't really much to find out. But one thing I think there is a massive potential to discover is about our past, simply because we don't have the data and the pieces to put that puzzle together, and it's so much more intriguing and interesting and just full of possibilities and I do like to daydream upon it. But I mean, that's why I fucking hate science in a way. It's like we're so forward thinking about trying to understand all these things, yet we won't have the open mindedness to consider previous histories, previous civilizations. And you know what? I haven't gone down that rabbit hole in so many. It's probably been like 2 years since I used to look at that stuff. I think you might remember there was that old YouTube channel I used to look at of that crazy little guy based in Bristol, somewhere in England, who used to look at pictures of mountains and draw that they were actually giants that had fallen over and eroded and try and draw shapes of giants. He was a fucking nutter. He was right at the end of the scale. He was probably 100% wrong about things. But there's a fine line between him and Graham Hancock. And we need to be more open-minded to listen to stuff that Graham Hancock's talking about. Even a good example would be that Egypt itself. So they found that the Sphinx showed weathering on it that had only taken place during a period called the Younger Dryas or something like that, okay? Which is a substantial amount of rainfall has fallen on this limestone, which is the only way that you can have the effects that are shown on the Sphinx.
Right.
And a lot of geologists and rock people, lovers, laughed at him when he said this. And then they went to go and see it. And they were like, fuck, he's right. There's no fucking way it could be like this. Half of the face has been rebuilt afterwards. But then Egypt itself wants to say, no, they're this age because they're to do with the pharaohs. But then the evidence clearly shows that whilst the pharaohs would have used the pyramids and lived with the pyramids, it doesn't mean they built them. It doesn't mean they built the Sphinx.
Do you know what it could be? Do you know what it could be? The pyramids. All the it could...
Come on, tie the knot. Come on. Don't poke fun at it though.
All of the artwork in the pyramids, you know, all of the drawings. Basically, let's say that the pyramids have been there since the beginning of time. The Egyptians sort of, you know, their dominance came in whenever it came in, and the bunch of kids, Egyptian kids, went, let's go investigate those fucking huge mountains, whatever they are. They went in there with their pots of paint and just went, right, Woody was here in just like graffitied all over the thing, and that was their graffiti of these old pyramids.
You would like to learn about the acoustics of the pyramids.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. It is just a we was here, and I think that's interesting in itself. I think that probably is what it is. It is something like that. But there's a story to be told, and until we understand the stories of our past, why the fuck are we trying to look at the future and to understand how the world is made and everything like that? Why don't we actually look at how we were made? What stories we have to tell? Can we understand it any deeper? Because, you know, as soon as our history is all based in technology now, and when the world wipes us out again with another meteor,
it's gone.
Fuck all left.
Yeah.
But at least these chaps put something in stone, and it's still here to today. So why can't we look at that a bit closer? So there's another thing here, which I'm going to take the moment now as to challenge you yourself, Woody, okay? Because I feel like, and it's not to accuse you, okay? But it's to gain an understanding, okay? Because maybe this Just Swim podcast is, you know, the questioning of human thought and everything like that. It's just something I want to do, and you've just hopped on and said, "Oh yeah, we'll make a podcast, whatever." And I care more about the questioning of these things than you do. But I don't think that's the case. But there are certain questions that you care about, and there are certain questions that you don't. And I feel like a lot of the time, you might tend, maybe it's because of your logical stance in life and all these things, to fend more for the scientific narrative, to fend more for the thought we've already have and how it's evolved, than to entertain the idea of thoughts that we haven't had. So, like, for example, Graham Hancock, I don't know how many times I could send you a podcast that he's on, but I still don't feel like...
It doesn't interest me.
You've listened, yeah. So, but why not? Why not? And I sound accusing. I should be understanding.
No, I get it. It doesn't. What are you gaining?
I mean,
It's gone. The time is gone. Like, yeah, we're left with these amazing things. What does it change?
well, I think one of the biggest things is I think it gains us a perspective of where we are.
But we know where we are. We're here.
We don't. The world keeps spinning every day.
Right.
And in the next 10 years, a meteor can come and hit us. And I
Right.
still don't think, we've got the technology to blow up a world. Have we figured out how to destroy
Why are
a
you
meteor?
concerned with that? Why are you concerned?
Well, I just think that it's just a misdirection of effort. It's like an injustice of effort. You know me, I'm a conflict warrior. Like
I just
want
don't
us to
see the
do the
point.
things that are fair. But that's another thing of scientific to bag on science again. We'd much rather fund research for, a company that can create a pill to not cure cancer, but to sustain a patient's life for X amount of time so they can pay for the medication for longer. We're much happier to pay for that sort of thing than we are to pay for an understanding of, how can we solve a global natural disaster if it was to occur. There's more funding available for the cancer patients.
Agree. It's because it makes money.
Exactly.
Right.
So what are the ones you do care about?
I don't. That's my point. Is I don't. There's no point me worrying myself about what I can and what the world can and can't do because doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I think that there's another level to this. So
if I could be separate from the entire world and just
but you already are, because
well, exactly, that's the perfect place for me to be in.
Yeah, so I guess the point here is if life is a chessboard, your piece, your singular self, Woody Briggs, can move in any direction, and the impact, the butterfly effect that it will have, will cause nothing.
Yes, correct. It's a piece that can move any direction, any amount of squares, but cannot take pieces. It just sits on top of pieces. That's all it does. That's who I am. But even better, the best thing about the piece that I have, that's me, is I can just go off the board. If I don't want to play, I don't have to play. Just take myself off the board. Watch other people play. Watch the whole war start and end.
Yeah. See, so I feel
it's futile trying to be a heroic knight.
I'd love to say it's a responsibility, yeah. But if it is, I fail deeply, because I just stick my dick in, leave it for a second, and I'm like, that was cool. Like, I don't ever do anything useful. Yeah.
Right.
But I still have this feeling, like I talk about it a lot on the podcast, like the idea of, like, I hope that if we talk about a few things, I guess on the minimal level, if we talk about things on this podcast, just like we've made the Discord group, other people in the world will also think upon this narrative and entertain with it, which is a distraction from the complete waste of effort that is thinking about Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think we can do much. I don't think you researching Graham Hancock is going to change your world. But I think life is very much about perspective, isn't it? Like I talked about the bromeliad on the last episode. Like Woody's shed. And I guess as much as you can't do anything, yeah, to create an output that changes things, you're in your box, and you can still fill that box with whatever you want. Yeah. just because you can't change stuff, it doesn't mean you can't dress up your bedroom and paint the walls.
Right. So your question
So maybe
is
it's more that you just don't find it exciting to learn about that stuff.
Yeah, correct. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I mean, some of the things are interesting. There are definitely times where I go through phases
Like
of.
you find if I was to come with you like a new particle physics thing had been found, it's more about how it works, and that is more interesting to you. Whereas when I see a new particle, like there was a thing that came out the other day. Did you see it? It's like 2 weeks ago.
No.
Big scientific breakthrough.
Yeah, but like.
Did you see that though?
No, I avoid all things about particle physics, if I possibly can. Yeah, I don't feel it. I don't think it's real. I mean, it is like it's complicated because I understand what you mean by like I'm on the scientific side, but I'm not on all scientific side. I think like the Hadron Collider is a bit of a waste of effort. I feel like we're on the wrong path to understanding gravity and the unifying function of the universe with that Large Hadron Collider. Maybe it's the only useful thing that I see in it is it will rule out the idea that we've got at the moment, which is good science in itself. I guess what a big reason why I'm not too interested in history is because there isn't much there isn't much evidence to a lot of it is opinions. It's this is how we think they built the Great Pyramids. This is how we think the Sphinx was made. This is how we think they've got the stones from Wales to Cornwall for Stonehenge. It's all opinions. There's no way of having a definitive answer of how they did something or not.
It'd be good if there was CCTV footage, wouldn't it?
And it's not as if we can even go back in time and ask them how did you do it? 'Cause you can't. So like it's just appreciate it for what it is. And that's it. How they built it, it makes no odds to us. It's there. They did a great job. Let's move on.
A few final points on science. Okay. So recently, I think it was 5 days ago, it came out news that a hybrid monkey-human embryo had been created in a lab. And the old pal Joe Rogan, who we haven't got him on yet, but I think he's going to be coming on in a few episodes' time. He said that, I think it was an Instagram post, he was like, can you imagine if they're just announcing that they're doing this shit now, what sort of shit they've been doing underground when you don't know about it?
Yeah, I think I might have said something similar to that when we was talking about mortality or immortality. Like there's definitely a bunch of shit that's being worked on that it just isn't published because
super sciences.
Yeah, like 100%.
Because science goes where the money goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we know where the money is. Or actually, no, we don't know where the money is.
That's the point.
And that's why we don't know where the science is.
Exactly.
So we just get these little tidbits. The little peasant scientists who didn't make it through to the elite groups.
Yeah.
Working on the fringes. And the ones in the elite groups are like, ha, ha, ha. They still think string theory is real. What dickheads.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing is simulation theory, I only realised now that I had it wrong. So simulation theory, I kind of obviously knew that it's the idea of living in a simulation, yeah. But I was listening to Elon talk about it a few months ago, or a few weeks back, and he only made me then realise by the way he said it, is that it's the... Because I said to you on the podcast, I was like, well, who made the simulation? And the whole fucking point is that we're heading towards a point where we can create the simulation.
Right, yeah.
Where we will be able to, or the technology that we create will be able to create that simulation. And that blew my mind. I was like, yeah.
What do
If
you
we
mean?
can create, if
What?
we can
What do
create
you mean
this
it blew your
world,
mind?
well, it's just like,
Wasn't that
yeah,
obvious?
it's inevitable. No, it wasn't. I was thinking like, because I was imagining like, oh, so we're in a simulation, yeah, which means there's a world outside of this that created, which is the same thing as what I'm saying anyway. Now I think about it deeper, but I was always imagining like an entity, not a human, yeah. Which maybe it's an AI bot, that entity, whatever, or maybe
Right.
it's just a human in the future that I don't recognize, which isn't it. It's the same thing, but I just hadn't had that thought that, like, you know, and he was saying it's like it's not even far off. It's like in our lifetimes we'll be able to create that.
I'm not sure I agree with him.
Elon's always a bit bullish on time frames, isn't he?
Yeah.
I've noticed that a lot with him. Even his, I think the other day everyone was like, there was like a Tesla crash or whatever, and then at the end of the article it was like a tweet from Elon that was like a year and a half ago, just like, yeah, we're about a year and a half away from just fully autonomous. Like you just don't even sit there and do anything. Like you just whatever.
Yeah, he was always a bit bullish on things.
Yeah.
I think that's just like how he likes to be. Does nice for his shares, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I guess he perceives things in. That's the problem with technology, and the perception says it does work. It's only when you put everything all together that it turns into a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Deary me. Anyway, to summarise, I'm delighted to see that you're back to work, Woody.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's great for your soul, for yourself flourishing. I'm excited to see the farm prospect, even if it is ever so in the distance.
It is.
Yeah, not much going on for me. Miyako plodding along nicely, just back at nursery. Lockdown is easing up. We're all rolling our shoulders, slowly getting back to normal life. Football wasn't taken away from us. Plenty of good things in the world to be excited about. So thank you for listening. Happy Friday to you, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.